Show with Clayton McKee on Facebook. We'll be starting the show in just a few minutes. We're just getting prepared, mixing cocktails and settling in for 3 hours of chat and some non-PC fun. From wherever you're listening or watching our show, let us know where in the world you are by posting in the chat room or hit us up on Facebook. Just look up The Show with Clayton McKee. At the beginning of Hour 2 is when Al gives us our drinking word for the night. Grab a beverage and drink along with the cast as they get rolling. You found Q Talk America. Tonight's live broadcast will start at the top of the hour. We would tell you that this ain't your mom's radio station, but Clayton's mom listens every week. You found Q Talk America, home of The Show with Clayton McKee, Marnie Ryer, Kat Carlson, and Al Perkins. We will be starting tonight's broadcast at the top of the hour. By the way, we're a 3-hour show, so grab a beverage and get comfortable. If you have a topic you'd like us to talk about or a question for the cast, please post it in the chat room or on our Facebook page. Simply look for The Show with Clayton McKee on Facebook. We'll be starting the show in just a few minutes. We're just getting prepared, mixing cocktails and settling in for 3 hours of chat and some non-PC fun. From wherever you're listening or watching our show, let us know where in the world you are by posting in the chat room or hit us up on Facebook. Just look up The Show with Clayton McKee. At the beginning of Hour 2 is when Al gives us our drinking word for the night. Grab a beverage and drink along with the cast as they get rolling. You found Q Talk America. Tonight's live broadcast will start at the top of the hour. would tell you that this ain't your mom's radio station, but Clayton's mom listens every week. You found Q Talk America, home of The Show with Clayton McKee, Marnie Ryer, Kat Carlson, and Al Perkins. We will be starting tonight's broadcast at the top of the hour. By the way, we're a 3-hour show, so grab a beverage and get comfortable. If you have a topic you'd like us to talk about or a question for the cast, please post it in the chat room or on our Facebook page. Simply look for The Show with Clayton McKee on Facebook. We'll be starting the show in just a few minutes. We're just getting prepared, mixing cocktails and settling in for 3 hours of chat and some non-PC fun. From wherever you're listening or watching our show, let us know where in the world you are by posting in the chat room or hit us up on Facebook. Just look up The Show with Clayton McKee. At the beginning of hour 2 is when Al gives us our drinking word for the night. Grab a beverage and drink along with the cast as they get rolling. You found Q Talk America. Tonight's live broadcast will start at the top of the hour. We would tell you that this ain't your mom's radio station, but Clayton's mom listens every week. You found Q Talk America, home of The Show with Clayton McKee, Marnie Ryer, Kat Carlson, and Al Perkins. We will be starting tonight's broadcast at the top of the hour. By the way, we're a 3-hour show, so grab a beverage and get comfortable. If you have a topic you'd like us to talk about or a question for the cast, please post it in the chat room or on our Facebook page. Simply look for The Show with Clayton McKee on Facebook. We'll be starting the show in just a few minutes. We're just getting prepared, mixing cocktails and settling in for 3 hours of chat and some non-PC fun. From wherever you're listening or watching our show, let us know where in the world you are by posting in the chat room or hit us up on Facebook. Just look up The Show with Clayton McKee. At the beginning of hour 2 is when Al gives us our drinking word for the night. Grab a beverage and drink along with the cast as they get rolling. You found Q Talk America. Tonight's live broadcast will start at the top of the hour. You found Q Talk America, home of The Show with Clayton McKee, Marnie Ryer, Kat Carlson, and Al Perkins. We will be starting tonight's broadcast at the top of the hour. By the way, we're a 3-hour show, so grab a beverage and get comfortable. If you have a topic you'd like us to talk about or a question for the cast, please post it in the chat room or on our Facebook page. Simply look for The Show with Clayton McKee on Facebook. We'll be starting the show in just a few minutes. We're just getting prepared, mixing cocktails and settling in for 3 hours of chat and some non-PC fun. From wherever you're listening or watching our show, let us know where in the world you are by posting in the chat room or hit us up on Facebook. Just look up The Show with Clayton McKee. At the beginning of hour 2 is when Al gives us our drinking word for the night. Grab a beverage and drink along with the cast as they get rolling. You found Q Talk America. Tonight's live broadcast will start at the top of the hour. We would tell you that this ain't your mom's radio station, but Clayton's mom listens every week. You found Q Talk America, home of The Show with Clayton McKee, Marnie Ryer, Kat Carlson, and Al Perkins. We will be starting tonight's broadcast at the top of the hour. By the way, we're a 3-hour show, so grab a beverage and get comfortable. If you have a topic you'd like us to talk about or a question for the cast, please post it in the chat room or on our Facebook page. Simply look for The Show with Clayton McKee on Facebook. We'll be starting the show in just a few minutes. We're just getting prepared, mixing cocktails and settling in for 3 hours of chat and some non-PC fun. From wherever you're listening or watching our show, let us know where in the world you are by posting in the chat room or hit us up on Facebook. Just look up The Show with Clayton McKee. At the beginning of hour 2 is when Al gives us our drinking word for the night. Grab a beverage and drink along with the cast as they get rolling. You found Q Talk America. Tonight's live broadcast will start at the top of the hour. We would tell you that this ain't your mom's radio station, but Clayton's mom listens every week. You found Q Talk America, home of The Show with Clayton McKee, Marnie Ryer, Kat Carlson, and Al Perkins. We will be starting tonight's broadcast at the top of the hour. By the way, we're a 3-hour show, so grab a beverage and get comfortable. If you have a topic you'd like us to talk about or a question for the cast, please post it in the chat room or on our Facebook page. Simply look for The Show with Clayton McKee on Facebook. We'll be starting the show in just a few minutes. We're just getting prepared, mixing cocktails and settling in for 3 hours of chat and some non-PC fun. From wherever you're listening or watching our show, let us know where in the world you are by posting in the chat room or hit us up on Facebook. Just look up The Show with Clayton McKee. At the beginning of hour 2 is when Al gives us our drinking word for the night. Grab a beverage and drink along with the cast as they get rolling. found Q Talk America. Tonight's live broadcast will start at the top of the hour. We would tell you that this ain't your mom's radio station, but Clayton's mom listens every week. You found Q Talk America, home of The Show with Clayton McKee, Marnie Ryer, Kat Carlson, and Al Perkins. We will be starting tonight's broadcast at the top of the hour. By the way, we're a 3-hour show, so grab a beverage and get comfortable. If you have a topic you'd like us to talk about or a question for the cast, please post it in the chat room or on our Facebook page. Simply look for The Show with Clayton McKee on Facebook. We'll be starting the show in just a few minutes. We're just getting prepared, mixing cocktails and settling in for 3 hours of chat and some non-PC fun. From wherever you're listening or watching our show, let us know where in the world you are by posting in the chat room or hit us up on Facebook. Just look up The Show with Clayton McKee. At the beginning of hour 2 is when Al gives us our drinking word for the night. Grab a beverage and drink along with the cast as they get rolling. You found Q Talk America. Tonight's live broadcast will start at the top of the hour. We would tell you that this ain't your mom's radio station, but Clayton's mom listens every week. You found Q Talk America, home of The Show with Clayton McKee, Marnie Ryer, Kat Carlson, and Al Perkins. We will be starting tonight's broadcast at the top of the hour. By the way, we're a 3-hour show, so grab a beverage and get comfortable. If you have a topic you'd like us to talk about or a question for the cast, please post it in the chat room or on our Facebook page. Simply look for The Show with Clayton McKee on Facebook. We'll be starting the show in just a few minutes. We're just getting prepared, mixing cocktails and settling in for 3 hours of chat and some non-PC fun. From wherever you're listening or watching our show, let us know where in the world you are by posting in the chat room or hit us up on Facebook. Just look up The Show with Clayton McKee. At the beginning of hour 2 is when Al gives us our drinking word for the night. Grab a beverage and drink along with the cast as they get rolling. You found Q Talk America. Tonight's live broadcast will start at the top of the hour. We would tell you that this ain't your mom's radio station, but Clayton's mom listens every week. You found Q Talk America, home of The Show with Clayton McKee, Marnie Ryer, Kat Carlson, and Al Perkins. We will be starting tonight's broadcast at the top of the hour. By the way, we're a 3-hour show, so grab a beverage and get comfortable. If you have a topic you'd like us to talk about or a question for the cast, please post it in the chat room or on our Facebook page. Simply look for The Show with Clayton McKee on Facebook. We'll be starting the show in just a few minutes. We're just getting prepared, mixing cocktails and settling in for 3 hours of chat and some non-PC fun. From wherever you're listening or watching our show, let us know where in the world you are by posting in the chat room or hit us up on Facebook. Just look up The Show with Clayton McKee. At the beginning of hour 2 is when Al gives us our drinking word for the night. Grab a beverage and drink along with the cast as they get rolling. You found Q Talk America. Tonight's live broadcast will start at the top of the hour. Q Talk America, home of The Show with Clayton McKee, Marnie Ryer, Kat Carlson, and Al Perkins. We will be starting tonight's broadcast at the top of the hour. By the way, we're a 3-hour show, so grab a beverage and get comfortable. If you have a topic you'd like us to talk about or a question for the cast, please post it in the chat room or on our Facebook page. Simply look for The Show with Clayton McKee on Facebook. We'll be starting the show in just a few minutes. We're just getting prepared, mixing cocktails and settling in for 3 hours of chat and some non-PC fun. From wherever you're listening or watching our show, let us know where in the world you are by posting in the chat room or hit us up on Facebook. Just look up The Show with Clayton McKee. At the beginning of hour 2 is when Al gives us our drinking word for the night. Grab a beverage and drink along with the cast as they get rolling. You found Q Talk America. Tonight's live broadcast will start at the top of the hour. We would tell you that this ain't your mom's radio station, but Clayton's mom listens every week. You found Q Talk America, home of The Show with Clayton McKee, Marnie Ryer, Kat Carlson, and Al Perkins. We will be starting tonight's broadcast at the top of the hour. By the way, we're a 3-hour show, so grab a beverage and get comfortable. If you have a topic you'd like us to talk about or a question for the cast, please post it in the chat room or on our Facebook page. Simply look for The Show with Clayton McKee on Facebook. We'll be starting the show in just a few minutes. We're just getting prepared, mixing cocktails and settling in for 3 hours of chat and some non-PC fun. From wherever you're listening or watching our show, let us know where in the world you are by posting in the chat room or hit us up on Facebook. Just look up The Show with Clayton McKee. At the beginning of hour 2 is when Al gives us our drinking word for the night. Grab a beverage and drink along with the cast as they get rolling. You found Q Talk America. Tonight's live broadcast will start at the top of the hour. We would tell you that this ain't your mom's radio station, but Clayton's mom listens every week. You found Q Talk America, home of The Show with Clayton McKee, Marnie Ryer, Kat Carlson, and Al Perkins. We will be starting tonight's broadcast at the top of the hour. By the way, we're a 3-hour show, so grab a beverage and get comfortable. If you have a topic you'd like us to talk about or a question for the cast, please post it in the chat room or on our Facebook page. Simply look for The Show with Clayton McKee on Facebook. We'll be starting the show in just a few minutes. We're just getting prepared, mixing cocktails and settling in for 3 hours of chat and some non-PC fun. From wherever you're listening or watching our show, let us know where in the world you are by posting in the chat room or hit us up on Facebook. Just look up The Show with Clayton McKee. At the beginning of hour 2 is when Al gives us our drinking word for the night. Grab a beverage and drink along with the cast as they get rolling. You found Q Talk America. Tonight's live broadcast will start at the top of the hour. We would tell you that this ain't your mom's radio station, but Clayton's mom listens every week. You found Q Talk America, home of The Show with Clayton McKee, Marnie Ryer, Kat Carlson, and Al Perkins. We will be starting tonight's broadcast at the top of the hour. By the way, we're a 3-hour show, so grab a beverage and get comfortable. If you have a topic you'd like us to talk about or a question for the cast, please post it in the chat room or on our Facebook page. Simply look for The Show with Clayton McKee on Facebook. We'll be starting the show in just a few minutes. We're just getting prepared, mixing cocktails and settling in for 3 hours of chat and some non-PC fun. From wherever you're listening or watching our show, let us know where in the world you are by posting in the chat room or hit us up on Facebook. Just look up The Show with Clayton McKee. At the beginning of hour 2 is when Al gives us our drinking word for the night. Grab a beverage and drink along with the cast as they get rolling. You found Q Talk America. Tonight's live broadcast will start at the top of the hour. We would tell you that this ain't your mom's radio station, but Clayton's mom listens every week. You found Q Talk America, home of The Show with Clayton McKee, Marnie Ryer, Kat Carlson, and Al Perkins. We will be starting tonight's broadcast at the top of the hour. By the way, we're a 3-hour show, so grab a beverage and get comfortable. If you have a topic you'd like us to talk about or a question for the cast, please post it in the chat room or on our Facebook page. Simply look for The Show with Clayton McKee on Facebook. We'll be starting the show in just a few minutes. We're just getting prepared, mixing cocktails and settling in for 3 hours of chat and some non-PC fun. From wherever you're listening or watching our show, let us know where in the world you are by posting in the chat room or hit us up on Facebook. Just look up The Show with Clayton McKee. At the beginning of hour 2 is when Al gives us our drinking word for the night.
Wherever you go, you can listen to the news. You can swing with the blues on this wonderful, wonderful station. Just take a lively companion take a portable radio. Take a portable radio.
Now, here comes the music.
Better late than never is what we say here around the old Q-Talk studios, and
We don't know how you feel about it, but
Eventually.
eventually we'll get to you.
you waited around for it. Good work.
Yeah, if you've waited, welcome to
You're
us.
welcome, yeah.
Yeah, and if you're listening on a repeat, well, then you had no fucking wait at all, did you? No, they didn't.
Well, no, they had
On
to
demand.
sort through that weird 40 minutes of nothingness.
Well, no, but if you subscribe and it downloads automatically to your phone, then you just started the show whatever time you wanted
Right.
to.
Because I edit that first half out.
Oh, I must listen to it before you do that.
How?
Oh, on YouTube. I watch it on the
Oh.
YouTube.
No, and then you'll know on the website when I post it. Actually, if you go to the website and go to that link where I post our latest show, it starts right at the.
Oh.
I fix it, so I'm here for you. I help that. Yeah.
Now, well, now I know better.
QTalkAmerica.com. You go to the website and you hit the. I think it's one of the first pages where it's a listen now, and then at the bottom of that it says our latest show on YouTube, and then if you touch that, it starts right when the show starts, as opposed to that 30-40 minute intro. Heaven's sakes alive. Well, according to Kat, I jinxed our show. I was optimistic earlier in the day that we would have original cast all here for our first show in October.
Well, not
But I'm
original,
wrong.
original cast. They're
It's
not
also
coming
not
back.
Yeah.
not October, so maybe for our first show in
Oh, I typed
October,
it-
it'll be the original cast.
I can't believe that I typed that wrong twice, Jenny. I see where it says deleted in the chat room.
Yeah.
I typed that same line with the wrong fucking show number in it, deleted it, retyped it, and did it again. So yes, 353 is the show.
It's consistency that makes it so.
Yeah,
Such a
it's-
success.
So anywho. Anyway, here we are. It's Kat Carlson, Doug Wilkie sitting in the place
Hello.
where Marnie and I really don't even feel like I need to introduce Doug anymore as a special guest. He's just
The rotating,
yeah,
revolving
he's
guest
just
now.
been here for the past 4 weeks of shows.
We've
the
decided
Joan-
to go on
he's
a
the Joan
rotating
Rivers.
schedule.
There's that.
Permanent guest host.
Yes, and then of course Al Perkins, and we're all we're all in the black except our star. Look, I heard she's got a sparkly shirt too.
I'm very
I
sparkly,
like
thank you.
that shirt.
Yeah,
It's very
thank you.
cute. It's a gift. You'll tell us about it in a
It
minute.
is. It's a gift from our friends at Ripple Phoenix.
Ripple
In a
Phoenix.
color that I really enjoy.
I will give you all a little heads up though, just in case as you listen and things kind of go off track.
We're changing the dress code.
No, Kat Carlson has not slept for 9 days.
It's true.
There's a lot going on
Very
in her
busy.
world, and I don't know that you've slept. I don't know how you're sustaining being awake. Is it coffee? Is it uppers? Is it
Safeway sushi.
down? Oh, Safeway sushi.
Yeah.
Got it. Out of
You learn
camera
to
shot.
get it where you can get it. You know what I mean?
Out of camera shot. You
I
cannot
learned that
sleep.
long ago in different areas of my life.
Oh,
Get it where you can
get it where you can get it.
Yep.
Well, if that works for you, then
If they offer it, take it.
there it is. Oh, hell of a Meow Cow and Jenny and Mama Da. Hi, Mom. Mom's in there. Of course, Doug, the guest villainous, is with us as well. Oh, my heavens. Now, it is still warm in the Phoenix, Arizonas. I don't know if you all caught this, but you thought it was another good idea to ride your bike over.
It was a very, very poor idea.
Oh my gosh, did you die?
Yeah.
Nearly.
Yeah.
Awful.
It was
awful.
one of those things where I was in the middle of 7th Avenue, and I'm like, you know what? Just jump in front of a car.
Put me out of my own misery.
Yeah, the ambulance will be air conditioned.
Oh, that's valid. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. I was going to see what our, I don't know what our current temperature is, but I was going to
It was
look.
115.
It was?
Mm-hmm.
Gosh. Well, right, according to, well, this is always different. Yahoo says one thing, the iPhone says another. 106 is on the iPhone, but let's see what Yahoo says. Oh, 106, they're both the same.
I mean, mine was an hour and a half ago. I got home at like 6:05.
Valid. So now 106.
So closer
excuse
to
me,
my bike ride.
106 early, yeah. Heaven's sake. So I'll be very happy when we get past all this in about 2.5 months.
Very soon. Yeah, very soon.
Yeah, but the nights will break soon.
The nights will break in about 5 weeks.
Yeah. And I'm okay with that too.
Somewhat-
And you know what the lovely part of it is? It's because we don't do that daylight savings time business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we're already like far enough south for it to get dark a little earlier than the rest of the world, and then we don't play that game at all.
Yeah.
We don't wait and kill ourselves in November. Like,
Which freaked me out while I was in Idaho because they do the daylight savings and they're so much farther north. And I was like, you know, they're starting to cook dinner. And I'm like, what is it, 4 o'clock in the afternoon? Oh, good God, it's 8 p.m.
Oh, no kidding.
Honest to God, like the daylight change
and I
was
say
freaky.
it all the time when I'm home in the summer. I'm like, I know I bring this up every year, and I'm really sorry, but it's 8:30 at night. It looks like 4 p.m. outside. Like,
Yeah.
when
Right.
will this shit end?
And with Idaho, well, I guess, and Buffalo, probably the same amount north. So it probably doesn't go down till like 10:30,
Not quite that late, but close to 10.
10.
Yeah.
I started drinking at noon, so I didn't really.
Right, I didn't really care. You know, it
Whether
does.
the sun was up or down.
It does seem that it used to stay light longer in Phoenix years ago than it does now.
We've been known for this early darkness.
No. I mean, it seemed like when I first moved here 25 years ago, I would swear that it was still light at like 9:30
No,
at night.
not in the summer. Well, not ever. No.
Well, no, because in the wintertime, it gets dark at like 4:15.
Yeah.
Like, but in the winter,
Oh,
it,
and those are glorious.
it
days.
just goes boom dark. Yeah.
No. I've been here a long time. It's always been blissfully early
For
here.
some reason, it
the
felt
sun
like-
is gone by 7:30 in the height of summer, like possibly 8 o'clock. But,
Just feels different. Now, and we were talking.
and I was home earlier this year than I usually am, so I was actually home close to the actual
The solstice. Yeah.
Summer solstice.
Yeah, so it was like the longest day. So I was like, okay, this shit is never ending. Like this daytime stuff y'all got going on.
And here we are.
Yeah.
And when do we go back? Is it November that we changed? I never remember. I know it's spring forward, fall back, but I never remember
Oh,
when the
the
hell
time
it is.
change.
They
well,
make it up.
They changed it. It's like late September, early October now.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well,
It used to coincide with the LDS conference that they do twice a year. It
Thank
used-
God.
Oh, I mean,
Yeah. Wow.
don't ask me why I know. I just.
That's
yes.
that's the winter solstice. That's not what I'm looking for. I wanted the time change. Winter solstice is Friday, December 21st, but that's not what I wanted.
It's always the 21st.
Yeah, that one does. The summer and
that
winter don't change. Oh, like you mean when do the clocks change?
Yes,
The
yes.
clocks change like. I feel like it's
I
been
think it's early
November
October.
lately. I feel like
Really?
they bumped it.
Or did they go that way? I don't fucking know. You know why? Because
Because we don't do it.
Yeah.
But I happened to be out of town last year. I was in California for a time change, and then I was in Italy for a time change.
Yes,
It was
because the
very
Italy one
stressful.
fucked
Very
you up
stressful.
because you were doing all of your scheduling on the wrong
Did you
time
miss a
thing.
train because of it?
Looks like it ends November 4th is when we fall back on November 4th, which is right before the midterm elections. A few days before that.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Speaking of which, we are there are a few special elections going on right now around the country. We were watching some of the stuff online earlier, so we're gonna figure out how some of those shake out here yet this
Well,
evening.
the big one in Ohio, the Republican Balderson is ahead 100,052 votes to 98,364. He's actually pulled ahead more, and now it's 99% in. So I think that's pretty much done.
Is Franklin County in? That was the one to watch.
And they're 99% in.
Was
so-
that I was watching
yeah.
Steve Kornacki.
Losing his mind.
That's the liberal enclave. Is Franklin County, and they said it wouldn't come in until late.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, if it's one, they got 99%
Yeah.
in, so who knows?
I don't know what their early voting is there in Ohio. When
It went. Oh, it was
no,
heavy Democrat.
I understand that. My point was they kept saying it was the early voting. These are the results from early voting. When does that cutoff happen? Because they already had that stuff counted and done. And though here you can mail your
Up
ballot
to the
in.
end.
I forget how many days before an actual election you can mail your ballot. But I don't ever remember Arizona's shit being counted that quick.
And like it depends. Like California's, you can mail like right. I think it's California. It's right up until the time. Like you can mail it today. Like if the election was today,
As long as it's
postmarked
postmarked.
today. Like they have very late early voting, if that makes sense. And I think Ohio's is the one where they keep shrinking it and doing all the voter suppression.
We have a cutoff, but because if you don't get it postmarked by then, but then you can still
You can drop it off
drop
at
it
the,
off.
at the
Yeah.
polling
But then
which
it's
I've done
provisional.
before. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and then it's
Yeah.
provisional. And then it gets counted, but after the vote's already
Which-
done.
Long ago. Yeah.
Yeah, they have like what do they have? Like in our state, I think it's either 3 or 7 days to count the provisional ballots.
I honestly don't know what that number is.
Oh.
But mine goes in next week. I already have mine, and I will be sending that in for our midterm in. Well, actually, that's for one in August, right?
That's for the
it's for the
primary.
primary, and then obviously the big one coming up later this year.
So as of and now in the picture that they had up on CNN when like 20 minutes ago is the literal picture they have up on the board. Oh no, it's not. Same percentages in on MSNBC, but that thing says 75% in, so it's all, all who gets there. You know what I mean? Like, so who's updating their pages faster? It frustrates. We learn this at every election night. It frustrates
Right.
me when
Right. And It drives, I
results
can't
in
even
one.
relive all of that.
Yeah, well, and,
Like, just,
and 20.
just wait 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Remember we had that discussion? We're like, was there ever any news story in your life that 3 years later you were like, thank God CNN got there 4 minutes before the other one?
Right. Yeah.
Like, why? Why is that the thing?
Yeah.
Every day.
And my other
Every
favorite
day.
one is when they'll do a breaking news story and they're there on not this is aside from elections and they're there, but they want to do it. So they're like, and we've got this breaking story, and they're at the thing and they're like, and we haven't really talked to anyone yet, so we don't really have anything to say about it, but we're
Right.
here.
Yeah,
It's
we're
like,
here. So-
Well, thank you for that report, Tina.
Yeah.
That was great.
Back to you in the studio. But we're here if you need us.
We're here, but
Right.
we don't have any news though.
35 minutes later, finally somebody walks out of a meeting and they're like, so what happened in the meeting? Oh, we're not telling you.
Yeah, we can't say. So, Kat Carlson, tell us about your week.
Yeah, I'm
Not-
sure
not a
you have
bunch.
nothing to report.
Not a
nothing.
bunch.
My
Not a
gosh,
bunch.
you've had a busy past few weeks.
We opened the Cobalt 2.0 Grown and Sexy Edition.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what we're calling it.
Grown and sexy, bigger, longer,
Yeah.
maybe cut. I'm not sure.
There will be T-shirts. Just give me a couple of weeks.
I
Yeah.
want it now, Daddy. I want a new T-shirt now.
Settle down.
Wish in one hand, shit in the other.
Yeah, to just wonderfully overwhelming excitement from so many people. Like
Yeah.
we were blown away. Our grand opening was probably double
I don't
what
think
we thought it could be.
I was thinking
what
the
we
same
thought
thing.
it could be.
I knew you guys were ready. You'd prepped. You were ready.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you were ready for that.
How could you be? My God.
It was insane.
How could
it
you
was
be?
just insane.
We
And
had-
I was so happy for you, in spite of lines, in spite of heat,
Oh, sure.
blah, blah.
Yeah.
It was wall to wall.
It was fantastic.
It was
yeah.
fantastic.
So many people came out to see the new bar.
Yeah. And it's a great space. It really is a beautiful bar.
Gorgeous space.
And by and large, you know, God love all of our friends that come see us. Everybody was very, very patient and very like understanding with how big that crowd was at its peak. It did end up like finally calming down. We stopped letting people in for a while and kind of leveled it out after a while. But yeah, so much fun. And by and large, I only had one old man want to try and yell at me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which was nice. Yeah, I was
what?
surprised with that.
Yeah,
busy.
for
what
what?
was our topic?
Well, it was too busy.
Shush.
I'm not kidding. So this man, Drewby comes over to me at some point, and we're like dying. You know what I mean? Like we're just busy, going as fast as we can. You know, we can't keep enough glassware.
And
We're
that
pulling
is
out reserve
no
glassware. and reserve
exaggeration in
glassware
your
and reserve,
statement.
like we're digging out like any old fucking thing that looks like a glassware. We're putting a cocktail in it at this
Yeah.
point because we just shoved them out there, and we had a fantastic crew that was shoving drinks out way faster than two guys could even wash them. Or pull them out from the back. Like we were emptying cases left and right, which was fantastic. We were just as on top of it as those guys could be. And so right in the middle of all that, Drew comes over and he says, "Hey, do you want to talk to this guy because he's demanding a manager?"
Yeah.
I'll play manager, sure.
Why
Day
or
one,
not?
manager required.
Why not? So I call him over to the side, which he clearly doesn't understand what this means. Like,
Oh.
come over here.
Okay.
Didn't understand this. So then I had to go get him and say, "Listen, I can't talk to you right here. Please come over here. Come meet me on the other end of the bar, and I'm happy to talk to you and figure out what your issue is." So I call him over, and he literally just wants to yell at me. Wants to tell me that he did corporate restaurants for 20 years.
Oh.
It always starts with I was a manager.
Of course you were.
Right.
Sure, honey. You
May have worked at Z Tejas at some
opened,
point.
Or I owned
opened
a
750
Young lady,
Red
I
Lobsters.
owned a business.
Yep. Which is fine. Sure.
I owned my own business.
Yeah. I thought he was going to choke on his dirty beard when I told him, "I understand, honey. I've been doing this for 15.
Been at it a minute.
Yeah. Been at it a minute. He went, "Well, who planned this opening? You didn't plan it right." Blah, 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 blah. I said, "You know what? We're a little blown away by the support and the excitement about our new space. And all of our friends for, I think, the entire country have come out tonight.
Yeah.
And we're very excited about that. And he just wants to keep like telling me that we've done a bad job. And I finally looked at him and I said, "You know what you're doing right now? You're keeping me from helping other customers. Honey, now you're making it
That's
worse."
really
Yeah.
good.
And so then I tell him this. He slaps me on the back like I'm his best little buddy friend. Says, "Well, go get him, champ." I shit you not.
Wow.
In the middle of all that madness, I got that.
And how long was that? Was it 60 seconds? Was it 2 minutes?
No, it was he took about 10 minutes of my time.
Oh, no shit.
Oh, yeah, he took up a whole
That's
lot of
about
time.
9 minutes longer than
Yeah.
I probably would have given it.
Because I was about ready to send him out the fucking door because I walked him out to the patio. I walked him out to the patio and I was about to tell my door guy
Well,
to
surprise, Kit
keep him
Carlson,
the fuck
on
out.
line 1 is the man you talked to on Friday.
He told me his name was Johnny Cochran and I said, I'm not kidding.
He loved you as champ.
Loves me as champ, hated me as champ. But
Wow.
no, otherwise, it's been a great opening weekend. Lots and lots and lots of people come out to see us just every day so far this week.
I heard that bingo on Monday, last night,
Last night.
was packed.
Yeah, I heard bingo was nice and busy, and so we're killing it, man.
And
We're-
today they posted, it was you and Drewby I saw posted,
Mm-hmm.
you're looking for help. If you're a server or a bartender.
looking for a job. We're looking for absolutely,
on.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we've opened up some positions, and I spent most of the day meeting some people. And
Oh,
talking
cool.
to some people.
Oh,
Yeah,
quick
yeah.
response. Good.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, come in today.
That social media works, you know.
It sure does.
Yeah.
Sure does. Had people messaging me, and I finally.
It's almost instant.
Yeah.
With computer-like speed.
Yes.
That's how I like
yes,
to
it
describe
is.
it.
The interwebs are amazing.
Yeah, I did a little coordinating with Jeffrey, the owner, and I said, well, here's what we're gonna do. Why don't you go do your errands in the morning, and I'm gonna line up some people this afternoon, and we're gonna talk to some people today. And so sure as shit, like people stopped by all afternoon. We met some people and met some folks that we like that we think we're gonna bring on board, and we're gonna staff up just a little bit, and away we go.
Are any of them, and obviously I don't need to know all of that, I just was curious, are any of them people who have already been that we know?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
Oh, yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Well, I don't know
Yeah,
if maybe it was just, fresh meat you're finding, or if there were some other star tenders from around the city that we know.
yeah. We're certainly not poaching.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like that's not a
You're
thing.
not
We-
collecting people like Stacey Lewis likes to do.
Yeah, no. We're certainly not poaching, but we met some people that have worked different places that we know that are available and have some availability for us. So yeah, we're gonna be.
Very cool.
We're
I'm
gonna be in
still
good shape,
just
I think.
overwhelmingly exciting for you. I think it's all great. I'm glad the turnout. And
That was fantastic.
I walked in at 7:15, 7:20 on Friday night, and I was like, huh?
Well, because I forced us open an hour early on Friday.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
The plan was to open the doors at 6. Kind of hold people at bay or whatever. But after I was there maybe 10 minutes and turned away maybe 15 people at 4:30. I came back inside and there were only 2 of us there by then because of course everybody else was late on their first day.
Yeah. Well played.
Another reason to hire more staff.
Another real good reason to hire more staff.
Late on your first day of work.
There's some hungry bitches out there that are looking for jobs. Take note.
Punctuality is going to be back in style in about a week.
But anyway, so
One of the Survivor games on the island. Punctuality.
after about 15 minutes of turning people away, I went in and Drewby was in on time with me, and I said, you know what? Let's get a well set up. Let's fucking let him in.
Yeah.
Let him in. People
They'll
are
wait.
literally beating our door down.
Yeah.
Let them in. So we were a full house by 6.
Gosh. Yeah.
By 6 o'clock, and it
God, that's
just
It
crazy.
never
Went nu-
let up.
not until 2. It never let up.
I think I finally left about midnight-ish is when I left.
Yeah.
But-
I saw social
I
media.
don't think I
lighting
saw
up
you for the
at
first
like
3 hours you were
7:30,
there.
and I thought, oh no.
No, you didn't. And what's funny is I actually stood in between. Like you've got your well when you walk in, where the corner of the bar was, and a lot of people were making that the line of getting drinks.
Yeah, I was helping a lot of
and
people
I
right
stood.
there.
I stood there. No kid. I stood there probably 20 minutes.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
No, and it's all right because I understood what was going on.
Yeah.
And I just stood there and I kept watching you, and I'm like, at some point she's gonna make eye contact, and so I think I was probably there 2.5 hours before
I saw-
you
I saw and
actually
noticed
saw
you.
me.
Yeah.
But again, no
Good problem
You
to
guys
have.
were just balls to the
Right.
wall, going nonstop.
Yeah.
And I
And
forgot.
I knew you were in trouble with the friends and family because I got there before they did, and I got there for that first part that I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, our small friends and family
Yeah,
party
was huge.
Was capacity.
Yeah, totally.
And that first hour, like there were people I saw across the room that I never made it across to say hi to. Because I was like, oh, Lawrence is over there, and he's over there, and he's over there, and then I was like, oh,
Well,
I can't see them
get
anymore.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Fernelli and I were like 2 tables away for a good half hour before we could even talk.
Yeah.
But so I knew you were in trouble for Friday.
Oh, we did too.
Yeah.
We did too. We took, we did all the planning and took every precaution that we know how to do. Like we,
You mean you can't prepare for absolutely everything. I mean, you just
Absolutely.
do what you
How
can.
long was the line?
I don't know.
Oh, at one point from the door, because and I don't know if it's by plan, and unfortunately for an event like this, it worked out this way. I mean, you got 5 wells, 4 wells.
I have 3 wells.
Oh, it seemed like okay. Well, I saw like 5 lines because people were
Yeah.
making their own line. But the first, you walk in, there's that first well. That line, when I got there, was right to the little gate entry thing.
Yeah.
But at one point, I looked out and it was going down the sidewalk. Like it
Well,
was
I heard,
crazy.
I heard there was a line to get in, too.
There was, we had to stop at the door for some time. I have no idea how long it
Wow.
was.
Yeah, you never
Wow.
got out from behind
It
that bar.
was 1:45 before I saw anything past the first person in the bar.
Wow.
My world is very small.
Yeah.
Wow.
It is.
But it's but I'm sure you realize, like in the midst of all of your stuff, the fact that you've got everything behind your bar and behind your storage room, all right there. Nobody has to go anywhere to get
It's
anything.
very nice. Yeah, we
It's
don't have
all
to. We
right
don't have
there.
to fight through that crowd.
Yeah.
At all to get.
Great.
Any,
And speaking
any
of fighting
stock
through the crowd, if you do fight through the crowd, you will find that there are lovely, spacious, palatial restrooms at the
First thing
Cobalt.
I
That's
checked
true.
out.
Yeah.
My gosh.
They're lovely.
They're lovely, and there's plenty of room for
I
everybody.
even have my own. There's the Cat Carlson Memorial.
Oh, of course there
employee
is.
restroom. Yeah, it's very nice.
Oh, and you guys even have one in the back?
We have one of our own.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's wonderful.
Yeah, it's tucked around the corner. You can get to it, and you're welcome to use it.
Oh,
but
the
you're not
one,
really.
the hidden one around front that I didn't know
Yeah,
was
yeah.
there until somebody else told me about it.
Yeah,
Oh, I thought maybe
Yeah,
there was
yeah.
another one in the back. That
we pile a lot of shit in front of that to dissuade people from going in
there
there.
you go.
Yeah.
Because I'll climb over chairs and trash cans to go to the bathroom. I don't give a shit.
Fuck right. Girls gotta go. Girls gotta go.
That's how we're keeping people out right now. We just pile a bunch of shit in front of that door.
No, it's
Don't
close.
don't come here. No.
No.
But yeah, so I'm today's day 9.
Yeah.
In the midst of all this, I think it was. I'm gonna go with Sunday night. A little insomnia decided to creep up on me.
Oh,
That was really nice.
God.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
No.
Brain just won't stop.
I thought I'd go to bed around midnight because I open on Monday and ate my ice cream, watched a little TV. Oh, I guess I'll go to bed. Whatever.
Wide awake.
Tick, tick, tick. Like an hour and a half later, one of the guys, Abel, that I work with, texted me, asked if I was up because he was just getting off shift at the bar, and I was like, "Well, I can be." I got back out of bed, put my headphones on. He called. I talked to him for like an hour.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
All right.
I was up till like 4. Last night about the same song and dance. So we'll see.
Well, wait till it comes around to my turn. I have a suggestion for you.
Oh,
you?
oh,
Good, because I'm having insomnia too.
Yeah.
oh, for the insomnia part.
Is
oh.
it Safeway sushi?
No.
Oh,
That's how to get more mercury in your body.
that's good because
Yeah.
I feel like a little low on the mercury
Yeah.
today. Yeah.
Well, you could just share your insomnia solution now, or unless you
We'll
want to
go in
save it.
turn.
Is there a new segment? Yeah, I have no other
There's a new
updates than
segment. It's our insomnia assistance program.
yeah.
Again, laser focus.
Laser
On the
focus.
pulse of sleeping. Mr. Wilkie, what have you done in the past week?
Well, not much new. It's the same old. Just
You had a
getting
meeting
ready.
today at
I had
the
a
old-
meeting at ASU today. Getting ready. Starts next week. So that was good. Went to the Cobalt, friends and family. That was fantastic. I loved it. So that was good. That got me out of the house. And I have insomnia too, and it seems to just be in a sustained state of. So I will warn everybody. I'm on about 3 hours of sleep.
Oh,
so
good. This will be a great
so
show.
after a couple of glasses of wine, that should be very interesting.
Yeah.
Hour 3 is gonna be real
Not saying
rough.
that it's going to be good.
Real loose.
It's
Yeah.
going to be interesting. There's no guarantee
It
that
happens.
will be
It
a
does. A
positive
A pretty
thing.
girl is like a
Melody.
Oh, good. We're singing this week too. I like it.
That was from a Hangover, wasn't it?
I like singing.
Or,
When
yes,
he and I lived together in
Yeah.
the townhouse, we had a rough night.
We
And the
did.
next morning, I can't remember
Yeah.
if he was in the kitchen or I was in the kitchen looking up the staircase, and the other one coming down. It was
yeah,
a pretty
Oh,
girl. It's like a melody.
like a melody.
It was rough. That was one of the ugliest walks of shame back into a kitchen.
Oh no.
It's like watching a corpse come back to life. So I think it was me.
Could be.
Seems
Anything-
plausible.
Yes.
Al, how are you doing?
On the hunt. Well, I was
gonna go get a
actually
glass.
put something onto the Book of Faces last week about a referral that I needed, bitching about my medical professional not having to be brought up to date on insomnia for the 4 millionth time.
I read that. I saw
Yeah.
that.
But the referral had nothing to do with the insomnia. These were unrelated topics.
Right. But pause for just
Yeah.
a moment. What you should have lived through, which you couldn't because you were working,
Very busy.
you should have lived through him at the Friends and Family event. Several of those mixed cocktails in, telling the story over and over, and every time he told it, it got louder and louder.
Oh, I was
What was the story? Is what I.
Well,
wanna
he's
know.
gonna go
Oh,
through
this story right
part
here.
of it,
Okay.
yeah.
angry.
Yeah,
Now,
it was anger. It was anger.
I already told it once today, so I'm done. We're down to once a day quotas on this one.
All right.
But because of the unfortunate medical human that I go see, I just put down there about the insomnia because that like tripped us up. That's not what I was there for. I needed the referral, but I put that on the Book of Faces, and I got all of these suggestions for solutions for insomnia.
Oh.
And one of the easy ones that I found, as long as your kidney function is up to snuff, and natural, is magnesium supplements.
Sure.
400 milligrams of magnesium oxide. It relaxes all your muscles. It has a way of kind of slowing down your brain if it's like brain racing. I mean, I did still take my melatonin, and I did.
Is that an as needed, or you take it all the magnesium every day?
Well, that's a good
Well,
question. Is it
right.
going to build up?
Oh, we're maybe learning
Because
something
the whole
here.
build-up thing is,
No. There's no there. It's
Okay.
immediate.
It's
Like
instant?
yeah, you're unless you're low on magnesium, and then the first one's just going to keep you from
Okay.
dying of.
Is there a lot of magnesium
Taurus.
in my Taco Bell lunch?
There can be magnesium comes. It comes from the dirt, so it's actually a actual mineral. So,
So if
green
I had
leafy
dirty
vegetables, all
tacos?
those
Oh, okay.
places, lots of lettuce on your taco. You know, the taco salad may have more than others. Who knows?
Interesting.
Not really a green leafy
don't-
vegetable, but we're going to allow it.
The bowls are lovely, though.
Yeah.
They really are.
Fried.
Tasty too. I like that.
Yes, they are.
Quite
Eat
some
'em like
trouble.
chips.
So, one of the people that was nice enough, because it came up like 3 times, so I'm like, I gotta Google this shit, because I've never heard this magnesium for sleeping thing before. So, did a little Googling. They recommend it for muscle relaxation, I guess. Bodybuilders and weightlifters will often take a magnesium supplement to like relax their muscles after a hard workout. But it's very soothing. It also relaxes your smooth muscle in your body a little tiny bit. So you also become very regular. So if constipation and sleeplessness are a problem, well, my stars aren't both.
Magnesium does a lot for you.
Two problems, one elegant solution.
Sleeping,
But-
sleeping and moving at the same
The one
time.
thing to keep
Did
in
you
mind,
sleep though?
Danger.
Yes.
Okay,
Danger.
so it
There's
worked?
some rubber
Yes.
sheets
So
there.
the one thing to remember though is constipation is also a side effect of insomnia.
Oh,
Because,
great.
Yeah, because you need that time to sleep and rest and heal your body. One of the things, feeding and breeding, digestion takes place
That actually makes
most
sense when you think about
optimally
it.
when you're at
Sure.
rest. You know what I mean? Your body's digesting that food. Everything's doing its job.
Very busy.
Your blood is not needed for hands and feet and things. So I found it quite lovely. I really had to fight it off. I wasn't expecting it to have such a relaxing effect, and I was waiting for my washer to get done to throw my scrubs in the dryer, and just about knocked myself on.
I envision you like an amoeba
And
on
I-
your couch.
I was trying to like read things on my iPad.
That
and
sounds
I-
like heaven, though.
And I just couldn't do it. Couldn't do it.
So, is there
I just couldn't do it.
is there a certain amount you take, or
Well, now
Maybe you took
yeah,
too
like,
much.
maybe
No,
you doubled up there,
And
Al.
of course, I did look at the milligrams. So I guess 200 to 400. I just assumed after this many years of insomnia that we were going to go right to the 400.
Right?
But I
yeah.
did hear up to 800, but then you need to wear a diaper.
Okay. All right.
Because then it's not so much a side
don't you
effect
already?
as it is
Yeah.
what you were going
Aren't you
for.
already?
Don't you already?
At 800 milligrams, that's really what you were shooting for. You're just glad you were
Just
asleep.
sleep
Yeah.
in the bathtub at that point. Is
Right. Just bring
with
a
no water.
just
I
bring
don't
a
know-
pillow.
I don't know what you do in your bathtub, but I don't shit in mine.
No, but I'm just saying
Yes.
safe. I mean, I'm just thinking that's the safer.
So,
What happened? I checked
Okay.
the text message.
Oh my God.
We're still talking about magnesium,
Wait.
right?
So Al.
I checked one message and suddenly we're shitting in the tub.
So, yeah, exactly.
because of her.
I just thought it was a safe thing if you just are in the tub already. If something happens,
Yeah, I mean,
it's
it is an easier rinse off.
Yeah, it is.
Because sleeping at the car wash isn't as fun as it used to
It's
be.
like if you've ever had food poisoning.
Yeah.
And you're continually throwing up, and at one point you're like, I'm not going to throw up, go back to bed. I'm just going to lay here on the cool floor and just, it felt,
Haven't we all
and
thrown a
just
pillow
thrown
down
up.
in the bathroom?
I like that he blames it on food poisoning. It's
Yeah.
usually alcohol
Oh,
poisoning
Oh
that
no!
makes me
Okay,
sleep
so
in the
do
in the
you want to know
bathroom.
something really weird in my adventures in
Boy,
alcoholism?
do I.
I have never really thrown up from drinking. Thrown
Oh,
up from
good
food
for you.
poisoning. I've
Oh, food
friends,
poisoning.
family, acquaintances, all kinds of people who are like they drink and then they throw up.
Ugh.
I just that has
I-
never. I
I-
mean, I have like I think once, but
I think in
high school. but-
my whole life,
I never
literally
really have.
once or twice from drinking throw up, but I just it's not my deal. I don't. Just,
Me
I'm
either.
not that smart. It took me a good long time to learn my breaking point.
But when you learned, you were done.
And
right?
then I was 100% done. Yeah.
Sure.
Offer me a shot sometime. The answer's nope.
Nope.
Yeah.
And we're not friends anymore.
Yeah.
Oh.
How
write
dare
that
you?
down.
Yeah, if you want to stop being friends,
Stop being friends
start
with
out
Kat.
doing shots.
Oh, yeah,
Offer
and-
shots.
And I don't do them at all. But I also most
That's
of
where
the
all
time
the vomit comes from is shots.
I most of the time make myself throw up. The spontaneous vomiting is rare. I just know when it's time to go into the bathroom and stick the finger down.
Gonna
my throat.
Karen Carpenter your way
Yeah.
through this whole show.
No, but I because I had alcohol poisoning.
keep eating
once.
by all means, Kat. I want
Yeah.
you to keep eating.
We're
your
only talking about
Safeway-
vomiting and shit.
your
So just
Safeway
enjoy your
sushi.
dinner.
What do you think I do at my fucking job?
None
I
of
watch,
these things. Right.
I watch people vomit and shit while I try to enjoy a nice burrito.
And you know, Kat
What do you
does
think
too.
I'm doing my
so
job,
in an
right?
interesting way, your jobs are more alike than you thought, Al.
Yeah,
Oh, we knew.
Yeah.
yeah.
We knew.
I have one other quick question on the because we have to get my insomnia diagnoses quickly.
Magnesium
So,
apparently,
yes,
Doug.
But Benadryl, which I know.
And I keep that
Right.
on. I took both.
But do you take one or two?
I take one, but some of the people I work with take two.
Two.
7.
Yeah.
And if you've had anything
25
to
to-
drink, will you like Heath Ledger out of here or no?
On the air, I won't say, but
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
oh no. The answer, no. I mean, everybody's different.
We'll
but
talk later.
I have enjoyed a couple glasses of wine and taken
Okay,
a Benadryl.
that's okay.
because alcohol keeps me awake now. So that's one of the
Yeah, well,
problems.
that's the other thing I was wondering too, is because my strategy was like, well, maybe I'll have a glass of wine, before I, to help. And I'm wondering if that having wine is disrupting the sleep pattern, and maybe that's what's
Yeah,
contributing to the
luckily the
insomnia.
wine
That's
has,
Yeah.
the wine has not done me wrong. The vodka does though. Wide
I
awake.
wonder
Oh,
if the
yeah.
product ZQuil, which is the the NyQuil
Yeah.
sister that just
Uh-huh.
doesn't have the snuffing,
NyQuil without
sneezing,
the
sneezing,
Yeah.
coughing, aching, and stuffy head fever, so you can rest.
Most of those are Benadryl.
But I didn't know if maybe there was magnesium in it. I think you
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
should read the label.
You probably could.
There, I don't know.
Now that I know there might be lower, like 200 of magnesium.
Because they have according to the label on this product, it says it's a non-habit forming, and it doesn't have all this. It just has the sleeping
Yeah.
portion of
and
the
it's
program.
almost 99% of the time that's Benadryl.
Benadryl,
That's what
probably,
Tylenol PM is. That's what Aleve PM is. It's Aleve with Benadryl. The second ingredient
Oh.
is always Benadryl.
Did they put alcohol in them too, the liquid ones, or not? Did they
NyQuil
stop
usually
doing that?
has
Yeah.
alcohol.
Yeah.
It has an alcohol content too.
Didn't know.
But I mean, you gotta seriously
I do
to
enjoy
get to
the
our
NyQuil.
levels of a nice buzz.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a couple
Two
bottles.
spoons
of
isn't
NyQuil.
gonna get you close.
Yeah.
That little cup is just a suggestion, by
yeah.
the way.
Yeah, uh-huh.
I don't know.
Just a suggestion.
Yeah.
Well,
But
now
I
that
swear
we've
by the
had our
Benadryl.
senior
Right.
ailments section of the show,
Yeah.
Well, luckily the
It's
insomnia.
almost what's wrong with Katie at this point.
Yeah. But I will tell you, the insomnia is pretty consistent with me.
Does somebody have
suffered from it
Parvo
most
at
of
all?
my
Anybody
life.
Parvo?
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 No, Parvo.
If only Harrison was here to share the Parvo story. But
Oh,
no, but she did send me a text message today. She's working late today. She, I don't think she's going to be joining the show tonight. She's working.
Oh.
She's very busy. But she
on
sent
her
me a-
behalf, because we had been talking about the Golden State Killer during one of our visits, and she's the one that told
and
me
you've been
about,
talking about it for weeks.
Yeah, she's the one that told me about that book by that Michelle McNamara. So the next time I saw her, I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm actually reading that book, and I was telling her about it because we were so interested in the DNA aspect of it. And so she was sick of the wait at the library, so she just went ahead and bought it, and now she's scared to death. She's like sleeping with all her lights on. Because she kind of lives in the area that he would have loved. Like, she lives in a, she's in a hilly community up in the hills. I don't
That
want
Dateline wants to come visit to figure out why is everybody dying.
Yeah, why is everybody missing?
Keith Morrison shows up and just starts interviewing people.
And you, what have you been up to?
Well, just the same. Going through all of the the cobalt excitement there, and then heat, just like everybody else. It's just
Horrible.
we deal with it every year. I know, but every year we deal with it. We're a year older.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. So I mowed a.
We-
Don't forget that part of the
You'll
math.
catch up.
I've dropped stuff off my resume. I'm getting younger by
Well,
the time of the week.
No. So I was doing a for a friend. I forget what day it was. I mowed their yard for them.
Yeah.
And it was a front only. It wasn't the full yard. It was just like basically.
I've had dates like that.
It was just weeds. It was just weeds.
It wasn't going to be anything
Right.
major.
No.
Front only,
Only
no backyard.
Right.
Don't mind the weeds.
Damn near killed me. Damn near killed me.
I think we're dating the same guy.
Right. So I learned. Well, we aren't going to do that anymore. So this morning I did my own, but I was up at 8 o'clock this morning and did it, and everything was perfectly fine at that temperature of
Right,
the morning.
right.
But if you wait until 10:30, 11,
All bets
Yeah.
are
no,
off.
no. Let all of the other younger people do that for you. So that was that's always a good time. I'm doing one of the new clients that I have is we were talking about this, the realtor. Well, I've decided, and I already talked to her about this. I'm like, I don't like how you guys do houses, and she goes, well, this isn't my house. I would never have done it this way. Blah blah blah. So the people who are flipping the house, they decided, these two guys who invested together, they decided, well, we'll just do it all ourselves. Well, that all goes to shit because a general they're way over budget now, and now they're trying to play catch up. That should have been on the market like 4 weeks ago, and it's not even close to ready yet. Blah blah blah. Well, the big thing is they tiled every wall in that house. It's just it reminds. I think of it, though it's not. It's much bigger than yours. I think it's just like the Stone Cold Mansion because every fucking wall is tile. Well, they want everything hung on all of these walls. Drilling through this tile has been a bitch. I drilled.
Tiles walls.
Oh, the whole goddamn. They're all
God, that's
tiled.
crazy.
They're all decorative. It's all decorative, high-end tile. It's beautiful.
I was gonna say, in their
It's
defense,
beautiful.
there are some gorgeous
It
tile
really is
finishes out
beautiful.
there
But
that go perfectly on walls.
but oh my gosh,
I have never seen a tiled wall.
it took in 4
I'm a bad gay.
4 hours today. In what I was doing, I drilled 10 holes in tile, and that's about all I did for 4 fucking hours is just to drill 10 holes. And that was like a couple of mirrors and a couple like a toilet paper holder in a wall and a towel rack and something. And I'm going back for like 2 more days this week to finish this. I mean, it's billable hours, but my God, I never want to hang shit in tile ever.
Yeah, I guess my
No.
sister's bathroom has tile walls.
But again, it's beautiful tile. It's a lovely, but it's in fact one I actually thought it was wood because the grain on the tile, the face of the tile was.
Grab that wood, girl.
Because I had to ask one of the guys. I'm like, is that actually wood? Is it a laminate of some sort? And he goes, no, that's all tile. Yeah, I learned it was tile when I drilled that shit. But oh my gosh.
Stop barreling.
And this is a house. This is a house in Central Phoenix that's just up the road off of Central and Rose.
700,000, right?
1.5.
Fuck you.
1.5.
Anything, all those houses north of Camelback on Central are fucking $1 million houses.
It's, and I'm looking
That
at,
There's a
escalated
lot of money
quickly.
there.
and I'm looking at this going, But then I was reminded because we've talked
They
about
were
this
5
before.
to 8 a couple years ago.
We were talking about this before a few, in the past month or so. I saw a headline in something I was reading that was saying that now the housing prices are now above where they were when the bubble hit in 08.
Yeah.
And it's coming.
Come on,
Come on,
crash.
Bubba.
Mama's ready
We
to
saw
buy a
that
That's
house.
right.
in newscast.
Because I know my mom watches, relentlessly. She watches all of, like, we have a few houses around town that we know that we like, and we watch to see what the pricing is because it's been on the market for a while, or some have not. But she watches to see, the rise and fall of what they do. Like this one across the street from me went for $270,000, and I'm like, really? This shithole? But what they did, it's the location. It's the land and the house. It's a shell. They're gonna gut it
The one on the corner on was it Pearson? Is the next one up?
right on the corner.
They wanted like 320 or 340. And I mean, they've done some stuff to it, but still,
Yeah.
like, really, it's
Well,
not that great.
Into my
Working
block,
hooker?
second house in. They were at. I forgot now what it was, but I want to say at one point they were like at 8,
Yeah.
and it was ridiculous. But what they did is they built virtually built a second house behind.
Yeah.
Expanded the house, and it makes the square footage huge.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking your look out of your backyard is a parking garage for an apartment complex. But again, you're right here in dead central
Yeah,
Phoenix.
which is where everyone
Which everyone
wants
wants to be.
now.
Yeah.
But I agree with you, Kat. I'm waiting on that bubble. Come on, bubble.
Come on,
Come on,
trash,
a-
baby.
Economic crash.
Big money,
Yeah.
money, no whammies.
Well, I mean, just so other people who are not in houses
Right.
can buy a
As
house.
the homeowner in the group, fuck you.
No,
Al's like, no,
but not in
please.
your area.
Yeah, we'd like the crash to skip over to your
Yes,
Campbell.
Just your little area.
My block.
Yeah, retains all its value.
Listen, Jenny.
And also while I was, I forget what night it was. I was,
I still have the lowest mortgage in history, so I don't care what it's fucking worth.
No.
I don't know. I think you and my mom are probably neck and neck on that. She worked her deal pretty damn well. And she's watching. She's waiting for her to figure out how much her house is worth too, because she's looking at comps in her neighborhood. I'm like,
Yeah, I can be out later today.
I watched a documentary that came out about a year ago that it's like been in my watch list to watch, and I just never did. So I was sitting there the other night, and there was nothing in my DVR that I wanted to watch, and I was kind of going through some newsy stuff. It's called Chasing Coral.
Oh yeah.
It was very interesting, and there was one before it, not done by the same people. It was called Chasing Ice, and it was a guy who had documented all of the melting of all of the ice up, at the North Pole and all, and how much it's just going away. So this guy saw the film Chasing Ice and emailed or got in contact, however, with the guy who did that first Chasing Ice movie and said, here's what I'm seeing in the coral reefs. And the guy realizes it's the exact same thing because of, and it's crazy when you realize how sensitive this stuff is. Huge sections of the Great Barrier Reef, and I forget, they gave a percentage, and it's been a couple years ago, and I've forgotten what the number was, but because 2 degrees, the oceans have raised, and they call it bleaching.
Bleaching, yeah.
It literally, the coral just dies.
Yep.
And all it leaves is the skeletal, which when you see coral, you think that's coral, but that's dead coral, because again, it just leaves the skeletal portions of it. But it was a 90-minute. It's a great documentary if you can find it. Chasing Coral. They go all over the world, and they had cameras that they specifically built and were designed and developed for them to do time lapse and time lapse underwater, and they would anchor them at a place to photograph just a coral reef to watch. They were tracking all of the temperatures all over the globe for all of the different temperature rising and all this stuff. It was fascinating. It was interesting, and then they got it with some other oceanologists or biologists, oceanographers. Well, not just an oceanographer, but the study.
Oh, oceanography.
I don't
Marine
know.
biology.
Marine
Maybe it was
biology. There you go.
They got with some of them who were doing stuff and were actually talking about this back in the 70s about how wonderful, how lush, how great everything was, and were forewarning way back when about stuff like this, how delicate it was. And they went back underwater with these guys who now are like in their 60s, 70s, who were doing, in their 30s or whatever, were doing these nature shows or whatever they were doing, and went back to the same places. And the guys are like, I'm just in shock. Like this is not even what I ever saw. It's crazy. So again, it was Chasing Coral. It was very, very good. And again, when you're done watching something like that, to me, it makes you feel very small in the grand scheme of the world. And it makes you immediately feel like I want to do something to do. And again, I just keep having to tell myself, because a lot of these people have great funding behind them and colleges and universities, and they do all this stuff, which is fantastic. But for the average person, you start small. We talk about it politically. Dog catcher,
Yep,
anything,
start
start small if you want to make a change. So I've got to figure out somehow, some way to do something
I love it.
that makes an impact locally. And again, my thing is, the alleys being clean, people cleaning shit up.
Now you can clean the
trash
beach.
not being somewhere. Oh dear God, with cat.
But it starts here. It takes the canal. It goes to the river. It makes its way to the. I mean, it
the knee
follows
bone's
a
connected
path.
to the leg bone,
Yeah.
all that. But if I want that job, I want to drive a tractor on the beach and sweep it every morning.
It's a good job.
I would be up every day
fun
at
job.
4 or 3, whatever time they want me there. I would do that every single day. I think that is such a fantastic job. Drive the little tractor and it picks up everything and just lays a beautiful sand down. I just think
And
it's
then sell it to
So fun.
Alabama.
one of the best jobs.
Clayton, Jenny, and Al both mentioned something, and I saw it in response to what's happening. They are trying to do this thing called seeding coral, where they're taking live coral and they're growing it in like coral farms,
Okay.
then taking it, going into the reef, and implanting it back in. and that is showing some progress in some areas.
And I would understand doing that, but doesn't that only work if the temperature drops
Exactly.
in the oceans?
And I can't
Yeah.
remember what there's something.
Yeah,
that
I
they're
saw the same
doing
thing you
there
saw,
about
Al,
it, and it's
where
some
they're
way to
seeding
protect
it.
them from the temperature,
Uh-huh.
or somehow getting a cooling system. There's something that
Wow.
they're doing. It's some big project.
It's so important though
They're
because
air conditioning
it's
the
the
ocean is what
coral
you're
is a
saying?
whole like ecosystem.
Right, of the
So
whole goddamn ocean.
It's the whole
Maybe
thing.
it's they're putting shade over parts of it. There's something that's going on to stop the bleaching,
Oh.
and it's like mildly successful, but I cannot remember what it was. I saw it on.
I saw it too. I
Yeah.
think it was on Vice.
Don't know. It's amazing. And again, it goes back all of the crazy amount
Clayton,
of
it's a city
plastics.
job. You can get the city
Oh, there you
job
go.
up there. Where Jenny
And
is.
she's
Oh.
beautiful Santa Barbara.
Whoa.
That's a city
That's
to have.
that's a city,
That's
to,
a
have
city to go to.
It certainly
Mom,
is.
we're moving to Santa Barbara.
Glorious news.
Oh my gosh. No, that would be. Oh, I'm sure cities like that because tourism is such a huge thing. Then they want
keep that
everything
beach clean, I'm
Right, they
sure.
want everything
Yeah.
just to be pristine.
There's probably private beaches
It's
too. that want it.
unfortunately, I wish that all cities were like that. I still, at some point, I think it would be just to see how it looks. I want to go to Singapore because they are
Clean.
everything. It's like
My
Disneyland.
friend Shane is in Singapore right now.
Oh.
Follow him. He is currently.
The one from Washington that you travel with often.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that I just want to see how a city look like. It's Disneyland. Disneyland is fastidious about
Beautiful.
all of everything. They don't let
Yeah.
a cigarette butt, gum, nothing is ever anywhere. It's just
They
perfectly.
just shoot you.
Yeah, they sure.
Goofy
the-
comes out with
Goofy
an air
comes out,
rifle
just
and blows you up.
boom,
Yeah.
you're done.
You dead.
Oh,
Smart.
and related to this about cleaning stuff up and so forth, I found out on Sunday. Went to dinner at Fez with a couple friends after the whole Sunday Funday, and I just probably wasn't into it. We went there and found out that Fez no longer hands out straws.
I
Oh,
did
wow.
hear that.
They no longer they do have straws, but they are biodegradable, whatever the hell it is. and
Lesbian fucking
They
straws.
do not pass out straws anymore anywhere.
Is that what
because-
they call them? I've been Google searching for them. Is that what I need to Google?
That's what he calls it. But the server
the
was
ladies
like
at Urban
they
Bee.
always had him in their little apron, and he's I haven't gotten used to not grabbing for them yet.
Yeah.
So now he's got more room for pins or whatever the hell they're going to keep in those little aprons. I'm not sure, but I thought there's somebody starting
Nice.
local, Mark Howard and our friends at the and Tom Jetland is part of that.
Yeah.
Starting and
Yeah, because the only thing I drink through a straw really is my hot coffee. So I went to
so when
her-
it hits the roof of your mouth, it scalds
So that it
instantly.
really just scalds in the back and not in the front.
Well, I
You don't wanna
also
ruin
get
the
my coffee
smile.
with a couple of ice cubes with it to avoid that because I've done this once or twice. So I went to Urban Beans, that lovely place with the quiche and the beans, and then they got a little wine bar attached.
And they're open all night.
Or well, they're just continually
Right
to
there
thrive
on 7th Street, right?
based on what they did with straws. Yeah.
Yeah, they're
So
open
the first
all
time I
night.
went in there, I put my, and I didn't, I limit to where I get real pushy with my ordering. So I'm like, just a black coffee with a straw. By the time I get to work, it'll be the right temperature, and then I drink it all night. But if I need the hit right now, and I didn't,
Find a vein.
we
Come
were
on.
playing Getting to Know You in the early days of the Urban Bean, so I didn't want to
Yeah.
be the total pain in the ass.
You didn't want to be like me and I walk into Starbucks. I need a tall pike with 3 ice cubes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3.
Yeah, and I'm like, I just say a couple ice cubes. So I take the straw, I walk over to the counter, I put the straw in, and the straw completely disappears. And I was like, oh, well, that's odd. So I get another straw and I put it in, and it completely disappeared. I'm like, there's something wrong.
Drink faster.
The lady's like, what? I'm like, am I a magician? Like, look, they can make this straw disappear. Like, what's happening? And she's like, are you putting that into a hot drink? And I'm like, yeah, that's all I drink is coffee out of it.
So
She's
they
like, oh,
added 2 cubes of paper.
cornstarch. And they're made out of cornstarch most
Oh,
of the
wow.
time.
Right.
So
Just drink out of a Twizzler.
so that's why I love that first episode of Veep, because that was right out of my life when she's using the cornstarch straws and it bends in her coffee, and she's like, what do I have to do, drink from around a corner?
That's funny.
funny.
So I call them the lesbian fucking straws. Then we go to SeaWorld because my friend was dying. I have to make it a Make-A-Wish story, or it's unforgivable that I was there. So
Agreed.
we're at SeaWorld with my friend who has just terminal cancer all through her body. And we're like, okay, kids, we're at SeaWorld.
It's a Christmas story?
We have to watch the language
You
a
gotta
little
listen
bit.
a little better.
So So the first thing we do is get coffees. I put the straw and it disappears. I'm
It
like,
does the same thing.
lesbian motherfucking straws. And we're like, well, I guess the no swearing's over. Because the kids here in the coffee shop are all grown up now.
Yeah, now. Guess what?
I'm like, I didn't know the first thing they were going to do was like fuck with my coffee.
Yeah, you're the enemy number one.
I
Al
thought they only
Perkins.
tortured the whale. Well, I guess I could go along with
Tortured
it.
the whale. Wow, you self-did that
yeah.
one. Okay,
I found the throughput there.
Need to close that.
They only mistreat the whales.
I apparently need to listen to this show more often. I keep
Oh.
just tuning in and out and going, "What the fuck are
Even,
we
tuning in and out,
talking about?"
tuning even out in here even.
Uh-huh.
Not just from beyond. You're tuning in and out as you sit here.
Should I not say that out loud?
Oh,
Should
it
I?
doesn't matter. Half the people in that chat room, you think,
gives us
listen all the time?
Should
I
have
not?
something to aim for.
Should I not admit to having tuned you out for the last
Yeah,
5 minutes?
actually, you made a comment earlier in the
Uh-huh.
kitchen because I do have that box I bought 2 years ago.
Yeah, I thought that was
They're
interesting.
individually wrapped and they're bendy straws. And I've just had them
yeah.
forever and ever. But I use these are a hard acrylic plastic straws that I reuse over and over and over
Oh, nice.
here in the house. But I really, that whole box is full.
Yeah.
I've used 4 out of that when I bought them. Yeah, I think it's when I first got my Amazon and I realized I
You
could
just
order
went
everything.
crazy.
Yeah, I could order
and,
anything.
and you did.
Yeah. So,
Okay, we've all been there.
yeah.
I've one-clicked a lot of stuff that's
Yeah.
currently in my house.
But I mean, there's no reason to get rid of them because they're still viable straws. But I'm certainly a person who doesn't. I don't throw anything out. Period. I'm
I
just
know.
like,
So now I need a coffee cup for work that has the straw in it, like my water cup is. That's all I have to do and carry it with me.
yeah, usually
Because at home I stopped using straws a long time ago. You know, in alliance with whatever it is, feeling for the oceans. I
sure.
stopped putting the straw in my. It's to keep my teeth white. That's the only reason I do it.
I agree. Yeah.
And now I'm
Oh, I
just
should have
used to
thought
it.
of that.
Yeah. Now I'm just absolutely used to drinking coffee through a straw, so I don't think anything of it. But at home I don't do it. But when you're driving in the car, like I just sip through. It's very ladylike, and you very rarely spill or have it go down the front of you.
Right. If you hit a bump, it really doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Well, Al,
because my
Ne-
hole's plugged.
Nero from the Nero from the chat room has a great. Where did it go? Oh yeah, have you guys
Oh.
heard? Drinking boiling water through a straw is one of those idiotic internet challenges.
It wasn't.
There you go,
It
Al.
wasn't the drinking that I heard about, but it was.
I heard about
somebody
it was
boiling-
throwing it in your
was
face.
throwing it on
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just called burning
I'm
people
like,
alive.
what
called
the
terrorism,
fuck?
people.
However, I'm still going to go
But
back
again,
to.
I get a couple ice cubes in my coffee, so it's
It's-
not that hot.
3.
I still am
get
thinking
3.
thinning the herd,
Yes.
survival of the fittest.
Thinning the herd is.
If you
is
if you're
good.
stupid enough to do something that takes you out, maybe it's really for the best.
Yeah.
It just
it
makes
might
me
be.
sad. My beloved internet took a turn about 10 years ago. And
Yeah.
It's just
It's gone
awful.
downhill.
It's awful. These fucking kids
Oh, it's been
fucked it all
turning
up.
a lot in that past 10 years.
I know.
A lot.
Sad.
Since when have you avoided red wine?
Have you ever noticed it? I don't drink red wine very much.
Okay.
I do drink. I
Like
don't.
drink bottles of it at French Grocery.
Right, no, but we almost always drink white most
Yeah.
of the time first.
Yeah.
Oh, I do drink red.
Oh, okay. 'Cause
But the
I
whole
was like,
reason that we
okay.
hold off and don't go right to red is because, as I'm typing the sentence, I've had too much red wine with people with brown teeth. Then I'm like, oh, cautionary tale.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
that's true.
And that's why I stick to white wine and make sure I find good white wine. Is I just don't want the brown teeth in public. And
Interesting.
the date that I was on, the mortifying date where I thought everything was just going swimmingly. I thought we were having a lovely time. We were about to sign the contract. And
Oh.
everybody was good. I went to wash my hands in the bathroom, and it had like the Hawaiian Punch mustache from the red wine. And my front 4 teeth
a
were
good look.
brown.
That's a
Oh.
good look.
Yeah.
And I was like, so that's why he's trying to chew off his own paw to get out of here.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. I used to actually not drink coffee only because I was concerned about the teeth thing. So then I got into like iced coffees with a straw, and I would just try not to hit my teeth because I was always so concerned about that. And now there's, in fact, to that point, I think I need to write a little calm down crest.
Yeah.
I need to write a letter to them because
Calm down.
used to be you had you had a mint and you had regular toothpaste, right? Well, then they started coming out with all the different things. There's all the there's HD white, there's this, and there's a kit for whitening, and there's all these different things. Well, now you go and there's like 17 different versions of this whitening kit, and
I
I'm
know.
like,
It's crazy.
come on.
This is something very specific to America. I've had this conversation with other people before about the toothpaste thing, and then Colgate will do it, and all,
Oh,
the,
yeah,
all,
yeah.
the, all the other
Oh,
ones.
yeah. No, it's very American.
When I was in Europe, and I love this about both in Germany, in Spain, when you go, there's toothpaste. Then there's just like 2. That's it.
That's it, right.
and you get your toothpaste and you leave. And now you're standing in Target or Walgreens or the grocery store or whatever, and you're staring, and it is so overwhelming. I'm like, which one am I supposed to buy? Like
Yeah.
I
Right.
can't even
So
like
what I don't-
comprehend all of the.
Safeway that has 4 kinds of cereal.
It has
80 kinds of-
900. Yeah, that is
exactly.
so true.
And I don't get, and this is what I need Crest to tell me.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I called them once and asked the question because they've got like.
Crest?
They, no, I did. I called from the store. I called the 800 number and I asked them because they've got like the HD white, whatever bullshit. So they've got brilliant white. Then there's like glamorous white.
Do you think the
and there's
ingredients are any different though?
I don't know. I'm not reading through all of
I
the.
use
like-
the 3D white.
I love that.
damn.
It's
No,
like
that's
being
what
in
I
the-
like. But
It's like being in the paint store.
oh my god,
White, pearl white, beige white.
yeah,
Duff
Ivory
white,
white.
eggshell
Exactly.
white, every white.
criminy, just give me
Eggshell white looks like somebody smoked in your house.
whatever. Just turbo white my fucking teeth. Let's move on
Right.
with this. Yeah.
Years ago, somebody did smoke.
I
white.
hear you.
So anyway, that's what really grinds my gears this week is just that.
Me too.
So I guess it's white teeth and healthy bowel movements and a good night's sleep for all of us.
Wow!
basically.
Oh, if only life was full of those things,
Yeah.
or not full, depending on how your constipation goes. Oh my God! I don't think we need to worry about an obsession. Does anybody have an obsession?
I just always throw mine in entertainment.
I think we
Cobalt.
can. There you go. That's been it.
And Jenny went to a big box store. I got sucked into by Shane into what was pretty much a Costco in Spain, and I was like, my all my illusions about Europe died
Oh,
when I saw like 12 packs of peanut butter. Yeah, I was like, oh, they're not living any differently. They just hid this store better.
underneath some lovely exterior motif that looks
Yeah,
old and
yeah, exactly.
blends in with something.
Some kind of Spanish courtyard. The next thing you know, this is a big box.
Would you like a
store.
sample? Would you
Yeah,
like a sample?
and they really did have
Oh,
all
do they?
that stuff. Yes.
No, they've Americanized all of those
Yeah,
fucking
that's
box stores.
unfortunate.
Well, shopping for a family is still shopping for a family. It doesn't matter what country you live in. You still have to feed 5 people for 5 to 7 days.
No, I
that takes a certain amount
get
of
that.
foods. I just never need that much food. You know what I mean?
Actually, I bought bread at the Costco here because I was there, and I'm like, you buy 2 loaves of bread, and I was really surprised within day. I thought we talked about this. Within days, it had all turned. So I took it back, and the girl literally said, she goes, "Just stop." She goes, "I don't know what it is." She goes, "For some reason, all of our bread turns moldy within just a few days." But when you go to
It's preservatives
regular-
or no preservatives.
But oh my God! So I buy the regular Sara Lee bread, which will last weeks and weeks.
I'll
which
buy
I love
a
it.
half a loaf at Safeway, and sometimes I don't get to the end of it before the last one's got mold on it.
Yeah. Safeway's fresh bread has no preservatives.
And
Yeah.
not a lot of people know this, but your bread is in the freezes beautifully section
Yep,
of your cookbook.
I have to put it in the freezer for that
and you
reason.
can actually put sliced bread in the freezer, and it will
Anytime.
thaw within about 15 minutes of you wanting a sandwich.
But thaw it
Like,
in a
you
baggie,
go,
not out on the.
yeah, well, it'll dry out on the counter.
Again, we have
a whole thing.
made
Yeah.
a cooking show.
I
out
know.
of this.
My grandmother
A food
was,
show.
again, because you're shopping for more people, we're shopping for one. There's a big difference.
I have to feed those people
Yeah.
too.
Well, someone's buying them
Someone's
food.
buying them food.
But because my grandmother was always buying food for like more people, she froze milk, so
Mm-hmm.
she would buy a couple gallons of milk, put one in the freezer. Because I told you, in the town that I'm from, you have 2 refrigerators. Like there's people that don't
Oh, I
have 2
understand.
You're just
Oh,
do-
I-
are
just
you
poor.
poor?
My grandmother had 3.
Yeah, if that's what you don't have a fancy car, you just have another refrigerator.
Yeah.
But there was milk frozen out there. There was loaves of bread frozen out there, and you unfroze it in the baggie,
Sure.
which is I think what you don't have
Yeah.
to put it in. You don't have to put it into the bag it came in is fine. Just don't open it up.
Well,
Yeah,
but
if you take
you're,
one out, you
if
just have to
in
put
fact
it in
you're
something.
freezing sliced bread to thaw as you use it, like you can go straight from freezer to toaster. Super fine. It's going to be amazing and delicious.
Right.
But if you want like just soft fresh bread
Oh, like one
for
piece
your
at a-
sandwich, maybe put it
Same
in a
thing
little
for
zipper
tortillas.
bag.
If they're frozen,
And again, I'm thinking of feeding more
put
people.
it in a baggie and then it thaws.
Yeah.
Your mother, Clayton, in the chat room, had a very interesting idea for whitening teeth:
I'm reading
baking
it.
soda and vodka.
Yeah. Now, when
Oh,
she
smart.
says Rand vodka, does that just mean
Brand, I think, vintage
I
brand.
don't know if it's brand or Rand or just random vodka.
Maybe it's
Brand-
rare.
rare.
I don't know, but well,
Is that
Maybe
comma
he-
means are those separate or together?
baking
soda.
baking soda and vodka. I'm willing
Oh.
to try it.
And below that, Jenny says bladder leakage hasn't been covered. So that's another topic we need
And
to
Al,
get.
after you
There's something to look forward to. My gosh. gonna tune right
After
back
you whiten
out.
your teeth with the baking soda and vodka, you can clean your bathtub out
Yeah.
with the same solution.
Same paste.
Smile and rub
Lovely.
my teeth in the
Oh.
tub.
Lovely.
Smart. You do it while you're taking a shower. You just, switch
Mm.
that all around and then spit it on the
everything.
wall.
Yeah.
Do everything in the shower.
What could be better than rubbing your foot into the spit out
Vodka.
vodka and baking soda and cleaning your tub?
And it exfoliates your feet.
Yeah. So many.
You can
So many
exfoliate
winners.
your feet.
So
One
many winners.
elegant solution.
Yes, it's a lovely thing.
One last
A
thing
world of
before we move on
problems, one
about
elegant
the cooling about where you lived in Buffalo or in Nero.
Niagara Falls. I'm from Niagara Falls.
I've
Oh,
heard that
Niagara
before,
Falls.
yes.
Which is near Buffalo. but
Near,
not
very
in
near Buffalo.
Nero was talking about you quickly figure out freezing preserves your food. I remember you telling me, because I've always lived here, about how when people would store their beer, they just put it in the garage, and then you don't ever need to put it in the refrigerator.
Oh, when we had
you
a-
just have
Oh,
the beer,
yeah.
and it's already
Right.
cold, and that just I could not wrap my mind around that.
We
It's
literally stored booze in the snow on the deck.
Oh, sure.
Like we,
Yeah.
holiday parties, holiday season comes around from
Yeah.
Thanksgiving until like Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
There was beer in a snowdrift on the deck.
And
Wow.
you certainly didn't need.
Oh, that's fine.
I used
You
to just
don't
put it out and you
refrigerate
put all
it.
the wine and everything you want cold in the garage.
Put it
My
out there,
sister still does
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there's stuff out in the garage. It's cold. Of course it is. 30 fucking degrees.
Right.
it's just like a refrigerator.
It's got to be boozy enough to not freeze.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, exactly. And my
Okay.
grandmother, my grandma, I don't recall if she had a second refrigerator. It seems like at one point she did in the garage, but I think that was only when they got the new one. But always there was the full size, taller than me, stand up extra freezer.
And that does count.
Everything was in there.
Judges
Did
do
your-
allow the freezer.
Oh, it was,
My grandmother had the regular like what you have,
Mm-hmm.
and did you ever have the flat one? She
Yeah.
had
Oh,
that
yeah,
flat
the chest freezer.
Chest
Chest
freezer.
reach
Yeah,
in.
the
And
better
that was full
Because
of
that's where bodies go.
right. Well, I think
the
that's why
better
they
to
had
hide
it.
your bodies in.
Yes. And part of that when I was a little kid, I recall from the very, and we've talked about this before too, because my grandfather raised beef cattle. So when he would choose whatever random one in the winter, he would go to the butcher with all of them, and that truck that's in your garage, he would load and drive to the three daughters' houses. Obviously, my mother's one of those daughters, and he would just back it up, and we would take it all out of that and fill that chest freezer.
Sure.
And you'd have fantastic meat forever.
Yeah, you're not gonna starve.
No.
You got that one
No.
cow that won't stay in the fence.
Yeah.
That's
A bunch
this
of
year's
frozen
hamburger, bitch.
bread.
And also why you don't name.
You'll have a beef sandwich
Yes.
with just one baggie.
Yeah, don't name the cows.
Do not name them.
No, no.
The ones you're gonna. The ones
Yeah.
you're
That's
gonna
Larry are
harvest.
eating there now.
Yeah. Yeah.
We-
No.
We don't care.
That
We're from
documentary
farmers,
Evil
too,
Genius that ends with, this is 911. My neighbor has a body in her freezer, and you're like, this was about a bank robbery. Have you guys watched that yet? Evil
No.
Genius?
I actually was going through documentaries in my bed. I'm like, I can't start this right
No.
now.
Oh, that one. I recommend it for people who can't sleep because it's only 4 hours and it is.
Yeah.
It's
No,
fantastic.
I saw that. I'm like, nope, not gonna start not today, Berta. I'm like, I can't start this one.
An investigation into a bank robbery. The last
ends-
episode
The last
ends
one,
in,
I got a body.
Dear 911, there's a body in my neighbor's freezer. Just thought you'd like to know.
Oh my heavens. What happened? No, I'm keeping that right there so I know where it is. Thanks. By the way, Doug was just showing me something off camera here. He broke something here in the studio a couple weeks ago. He was messing around when he was filling in for Al sitting there. He broke Al's microphone
Doug, if
stand.
you'd be so kind, I'll take a beer off that.
Oh my
top.
gosh, we're taking a. Would you quit putting it there because that's where I know I'm going to get. Look, so put it here. So I
Drink
know-
orders.
Oh.
If you like, sure.
Oh
I
my
will take.
God.
I will take a full service.
Look at that. Doug, open
Thank you, sir or ma'am.
and into your pocket, and then you stole it and took it home.
Oh.
He washed his clothes, took his clothes. What's this? Big piece of metal comes out of his.
A
out of
thief
his
and a
shirt.
bartender. I knew I liked you.
Well, let's move on and
She can thaw bread.
let's move on and do this as we
Oh, let's
wrap up our first hour. This is our headline segment, a tease, going into hour 2, where we tell you the stories that we're going to touch on in the beginning of our second hour. A valedictorian gets a full scholarship.
some shit I'm gonna find in the next 10 minutes.
Twins marrying twins, and that's not even the weird part.
I guess I didn't understand Judgment Free Zone.
Driver fined for transporting garbage.
Real estate follow-up.
A helpful reminder from the CDC.
One time use only, please.
Also, concert goer tries to steal private jet. He's my hero for this week. These stories Coming up here in just the next few minutes on Q Talk America. Oh, it'll be exciting for everybody. Stay in the chat room, get a beverage. Hang on, we'll be right back. It's Q Talk America.
Oh my God, is this not your mother's recipe?
Yes, and now I'm passing it on to you. So try to keep up.
You're listening to Q Talk America.
Educates, syncopates, radio communicates, radio, the sound of year-round pleasure.
This is the Q Talk America Radio Network.
Guess what, kids? You've made it. It's the beginning of hour 2. This is show 353. This is the 7th of August,
Is it?
2018. Oh, you know what? It's exactly a month from my 49th birthday.
Mazel tov.
My gosh, let's just hope we can all get to that blessed day. We can all suffer through enough, 30 more days to get there. I think we can do it.
31.
Whatever it is. We're sitting here in Studio C in Central Phoenix, Arizona, where it's a nice, chilly temperature outside.
Rhapsody calendar.
Kat Carlson's here, Doug Wilkie, Al Perkins. I'm Clayton McKee. Glad you're with us. Hi to Jenny and Mama Di, Nero, Joe D. I don't know. Was Meow Cal in there somewhere?
Here.
So many people in the chat room. Thank you all for joining in. If you missed our first hour, well, you can go back and listen on demand at any time, 24/7 on Q Talk America. But now it's time for headlines. Seth Owen thought his dreams of attending Georgetown University were in jeopardy earlier this year after receiving his financial aid package from the prestigious school. The package had been determined based on the expected contribution of his own family. Now, the family, a religious family, he said, actually drove him out of his house because of his sexual orientation. Seth says, I started to cry because I realized that there was no way that I could go to college. He said, noting that he would have had to have forked over $20,000 for his first year's tuition alone. Well, that's when his former teacher and mentor, Jane Martin, decided to set up a GoFundMe page to raise money for his tuition. Hoping to make the impossible possible, Martin said. Her original goal was to raise $20,000, but Owen's heart-wrenching story went viral. News outlets across the country reported on Owen's story, and the fundraising total skyrocketed to nearly $130,000.
Wow.
Then on Friday, NBC News learned that the Georgetown University had decided to offer Owen a full scholarship based on his story.
So now he can offer $130,000 worth of scholarship.
So while the campaign has been ongoing, the professionals at the Office of Student Financial Services have continued to work with me to make my dreams a reality, Owen said. In a statement he sent to NBC News, due to their efforts and attention, they were able to adjust my aid package even further.
Wow.
My expected contribution is 0. With these new adjustments, I will be able to attend Georgetown University this fall. He said he plans to use the money from the GoFundMe page that was raised to cover his additional personal expenses while at Georgetown and to create scholarships funds for other people. He says, quote, at the moment, I'm in the process of exploring the establishment of a scholarship for
That's a good
LGBTQ
way to go.
scholars
There you go.
who find themselves in the same circumstance
Yep.
that I was in. I'm looking
Yep.
forward to utilizing the resources at Georgetown to help with this effort. I think that's great. He's a cute kid. Here's for those of you watching, here's a picture of him, valedictorian of his class.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And he got, obviously part of his funding, and then
Clearly
his,
doesn't drink red wine or coffee
No.
currently.
and then his family decided because
Good for him.
he was gay that nope, they're just not going to contribute to his
so
life
fucked
at
up.
all. They get him all the way. They
Awful.
get him all the way through. I mean, I don't know. Did he come out the last day of school? I don't know what happened.
At least they didn't kick him out at 14. I mean,
Well, no, right, but
right,
still,
yeah.
Yeah,
you
I know.
again, if religion was not part of this world,
I know.
I would be a much better place.
Imagine there's no heaven. I feel like there's
Yeah.
a song there.
So it could be.
no,
Feel free to write it.
no religion too.
Yeah.
And that story's wonderful, and the specific scholarship is what I like about that for the LGBT.
Yeah.
Because and they're out there. They're hard to find, but and anyone who's listening, and I know this is true at ASU. There are some. People have done them on small scale, so there's scholarships at every level. So you can get ones. You can get them for like $500 or whatever, and so there are actually scholarships like that for LGBT kids, and they don't even know about them because they don't get much publicity. So if you know anybody who's about to go to college, or you have kids, or
Those motherfuckers
that's where they
are applying for every gay
yeah.
scholarship.
Yeah.
because they're out there, and sometimes it's sad they go unused for lack of.
Locally, our
Pride.
Phoenix Pride, they every year give out several $1,000s. In fact, at one time it
Fantastic.
was $40,000. I think they just went through it, and I want to say it was $50,000 or $60,000
Not anymore.
every year.
If I remember what he told me correctly, this was the most money they ever had.
Oh.
Yeah, it
This
is.
year was the
I
most money
love
they
hearing
had to
that.
give away.
I
to
just don't
scholarships.
recall what it is, but
Can
they
I ring a ding on
Yeah,
that
sure
one?
you can.
Yes.
So they give out
whatever you
money
like.
to people who are who just didn't have the money or
didn't know
didn't have
the
the
etiquette.
to.
Yeah.
There is no etiquette to bell
When,
ringing.
when the spirit moves, you,
Yeah,
honey.
just ring your bell.
So
An angel gets its wings.
I usually do it when I'm really drunk when we're doing this show.
But it's
That's
great
fine,
that
too.
locally they all year they not only set aside money from all the other things they do, but that's part of the Mr. and Mrs. Gay Pride competition is they have to raise money, and all of that money goes towards that scholarship.
I think
fund.
I feel like I have to. Well, we can talk later, but I feel like I need to get more involved in that.
No, there's
piece
no
of the
time like the
story.
present. Start locally, Doug.
Yeah, well, I have the
Yeah.
connection to ASU, so we're plugged into
And now
all
you
the
have
kinds
a
of stuff
connection
that's
to
out.
Pride, too.
And
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
Fernelli pretty
No,
well.
Seriously.
There's
So
that.
all right.
Known him a minute.
Kat Carlson.
Speaking of education, Oceanside, California school officials have shelved a sex ed program for the district's youngest students. Kindercare, they thought of calling it, but then thought otherwise. After parents complained the material was too graphic and undermined their religious values and promoted, quote, premature sexual interest, experimentation, and engagement. These motherfuckers.
Yeah, again. Imagine there.
The district suspended the program for elementary school students earlier this summer and plans to replace it with a new curriculum.
Curriculum?
Curriculum.
Well, stay ignorant of your body. Watch this cartoon.
Called Barbie is Anatomically Correct.
Yeah.
So's Ken.
God.
Damn it. The sex ed curriculum titled Rights, Respect, and Responsibility. I don't know. Was adopted by Oceanside Unified School District last year to comply with California's Healthy Youth Act, which took effect.
I mean, if they're teaching them this is
2016.
mine, you can't touch it.
That's-
That's fine too.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And
Don't
don't make
touch
any
it.
pacts to not tell another adult about some adult touching you. Like,
Yeah.
that's
a good place to start out.
yeah.
State law.
Well, that's
Yeah.
how most of them get them.
Right.
State law requires schools to educate middle and high school students on how to prevent HIV, sexually transmitted infections, and unplanned pregnancies, and to support healthy attitudes about adolescent growth and development, body image, gender, sexual orientation. So California,
Funny
like
smells.
very, very, so many smells.
Yeah. You're gonna need your own bathroom.
I've already banned one child to one side of the house. Like, you just stay over there for 4 to 6 years.
Until you move out. Just stay there.
You're what? You're almost 13. 7 years will be fine. You just stay right there. Let's see. Amid Me Too allegations, sexual identity politics, and social media, educators feel an urgency to address sexual health early on, but they acknowledge the complexity of discussing it in a manner suitable for younger kids. And I'm kind of on board. Like, what do you tell a 5-year-old? That's mine. Don't touch it.
I mean,
fair enough.
That should get you.
That kind of covered it in our house.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
You can have a pretty sophisticated conversations about sexual behavior with kids at that age, at 5, and I guess it's better to do it that way. They don't grow up with all these like complexes and stigma.
And you want them to be, you want them to know their body. This is your body. This is what it does. This is what it's for.
Yeah.
Like very frank terms.
And they handle it really well.
Have a healthy relationship with alcohol early on.
Yeah.
Sure.
Don't make it taboo.
Yeah.
Don't make it something they have to explore. Something dirty they have to hear from their friends.
Make sure they know that vodka whitens your teeth.
Right, with
And you
just
can-
the right amount of baking soda.
And depending on how good you look, you can make
Baking
money
soda to
from
taste,
the body,
really,
right? You
right.
teach them that.
That's the after 18 when they're still living in your basement.
Later
I
on.
don't know
You know
that
you can sell your
stripper
body
poles are
for
part of the
cash.
curriculum.
Oh, I think you have a stripper pole in the house.
That's freshman year of college. You know, you can make some money off
Right.
your body and not
You know
live
that
in a
kid that got the
basement.
full tuition? You might need some help.
Yeah.
There's a scholarship for that.
Yeah. Learn to dance pretty.
Well,
I named you Chandelier for a reason.
I'm feeling like that might be too much, and here's why. Apparently, a kindergarten lesson taught to students taught them to protect their personal safety and privacy, but also asked them to name and label body parts, including reproductive organs. And parents thought that was a little much.
But you should know the right. I don't get
Yeah.
why you don't know the right names for
Right.
stuff.
Right.
I don't
Why are you calling it a hoo-ha?
Right. Right.
Right.
Because it's fun to say.
Yeah.
I saw. Sorry to promote Vice
I mean,
again,
but you don't pee out of your actual vagina. So, I mean,
No,
you,
it's a true story. You sure don't.
You sure
Yeah.
don't. I mean,
I
if
saw
you
a
are,
segment on
maybe consult a
Maybe
medical
something's wrong
I don't think
there.
magnesium's going to help you.
on Vice News, and they did. They talked about like sex ed in I think it was Denmark, and they just went right into the elementary schools, and it was like kindergarten, first grade, and they just were. It blew me away how amazing it was. They just had the most, just interesting, normal conversations about sex, body parts, sexual behavior with that age group, and they were not like freaking out or traumatized or giggling or or they just I
They
think it's
also
in
don't
that
have-
whole presentation.
They also
and that
don't
whole-
have fucked up, freaked out,
Yeah.
giggling parents at home.
Exactly.
Is
That's
it
the whole
Denmark
thing.
where IKEA is based out of?
Sweden.
Oh, Sweden. My bad.
Sweden, yeah.
I was thinking maybe it would come with a nondescript pamphlet and a couple wrenches that you had to put together.
But
or
they
something.
talked about that approach
Sex
to
ed.
like sex, drugs,
IKEA style.
Right.
all of that stuff was just really it takes all of the stigma out of it.
Yeah.
And if your wood is that flimsy, seek Viagra.
Interesting. Not
Well,
magnesium.
Not
And a-
magnesium.
And another
Makes it
Again.
flimsier.
and another thing that
That muscle ain't working better.
I would say back in the day when children were more on farms and they were around
Yeah.
farm animals and all
That's a
that.
great.
They
that is a
learned
great example.
Real
You
young.
learn
No.
super quick.
No, right, but I mean that's just part of your day. There are the cows breed
Yep.
and the chickens, whatever, all the stuff. You just learn that, and it's not taboo. It's a matter of fact.
Yeah, I remember a woman on yet another show. All I ever done my whole
Jesus
life is
Christ,
watch
just
shows.
watching Vice.
No, this was like this was like 10 or 20
Non-Vice
non-Vice endorsement.
It's
10
time
or
for you to
15
go
years
back
ago.
to work, Doug. It's time for you to go back to work.
No, this was
No
like 15
kidding.
years ago.
Next week.
There was a whole thing about sex ed in schools and blah 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 blah, and she piped into this discussion and she said, "Well, we've been farmers for years and wherever they were," and she said, I love this. I always remember how she said it. She said, "And my children know all about reproduction and not in the prurient, disgusting ways. They know about it in the healthy ways because they've grown up on farms
Right.
and they know how all of that
Oh,
is.
yeah.
And we've had those conversations and not in some fucked up, leery kind of
Dirty magazine. Right,
way."
so, right.
That's why you
And I thought that
control
is
how it's learned,
really cool.
Yeah.
That's good.
And you learn about it in a controlled way where you know the subject matter and it's not the dirty talk from the hall of like that's what this is where And then,
Where I learned most of my best tricks.
I was just gonna say, and like my mom was very frank. You know, she did the nursing thing and very frank with like picture books that they're still in our basement. I don't know why that book is still there.
In case you need it.
But it's a cartoon book.
You might
Where
need
Did
it
I Come
someday,
From
Al.
That
Reference.
explains like, like way in too much detail. The childbirth part, like we could have left it sex. I didn't need to watch the embryo develop into a baby. That got a little repetitive. But when I don't know what I'm talking about, but in
We don't either.
that park north of San Diego, where the feed and breed part of the zoo. That's literally what they call it.
Yeah.
It's the wildlife park that it's where the animals really go to from the San Diego Zoo.
Okay.
They rotate them out and they're in this
So
big
playtime is
wildlife-
over there.
Right. So they're not always in the small area. They're on display briefly and then they go back to this, and there's a big like open like Serengeti type area, and you ride the train around, and like the animals that should be mixing together are mixing together, kind of stuff. But it's very large, and we were there on a warm day in the winter. I think it was like January. We went on a warm day, rode the train around, and it was just funny because the lady on the train was like, I just want to tell you, I know there's a lot of kids on here. It's time to tell your kids about the birds and the bees because they're about to watch it.
In 5,
Yeah.
4, 3.
Here it comes.
There was a giraffe with a boner, like an adolescent giraffe with a boner that was just
There.
playing with it, like right in front.
Well, they got that long neck.
Yeah, and what a von
Handy.
Stupor he must
Handy.
have.
Yeah.
The lions were just napping and fucking the entire time. So when they usually like sit you there and like perhaps they'll come down today, or they'll lay here right in front of us and fuck like
lions.
lions. And oh my god, it was one of the funny. I've never seen outside of YouTube that many animals breed, and it was just live and in color.
I had one visit to the Phoenix Zoo like that years ago when the kids were small and would still let us take them to the zoo, because now apparently it's not cool.
Still have never been to the Phoenix Zoo.
Not
all the
cool
years
at
I've lived
all
here.
Nice.
When you're 13. Yeah, it's pretty nice. I like it.
Someday I'll go.
Sure. You want me to take you to the zoo?
Go to
I'll
Zoo
take
Lights.
Would you please?
Yeah. Oh, you've been to
Knock out.
Zoo Lights,
I've
haven't
not.
you?
No, never.
It's a pretty zoo and it's a nice state. It's
nice.
a nice walk.
We'll get there.
I love
In
the
any
walk.
event, Oceanside, fighting the good fight. Good on
There
ya.
you go.
Good.
Mr. Wilkie.
All right. So here's something you don't hear about every day. Identical twin sisters recently married identical twin brothers in a joint ceremony in Twinsburg, Ohio.
Oh, my
yes.
gosh.
The ceremony was officiated by identical twin ministers, naturally. The sisters Brittany and Brianna Dean married brothers Josh and Jeremy Salyers at the Twins Day Festival, where the couples met a year ago. The couples first made headlines in February when the brothers proposed to the sisters at the same time. We've done so much in life together. We've gone through so many things, having twin loves of our lives, and to accept their marriage proposal at the same time made it that much more special, Brittany told Good Morning America. We've always known our whole life if we were going to be married that it was going to be with twins, Jeremy Salyer said. Now Brianna tells people that their wedding has really been a fairy tale come true. Marrying twins is something that's very important to us. Even when we were little girls, I can remember being in kindergarten knowing that that is what we saw for ourselves. So
Here's a picture of the lovely couple.
Oh, there they are.
right
Yeah,
there.
they're cute.
I'm freaked out.
Yeah,
I
I'm a
can't.
little. Yeah, it's a little freaky, but it
was a
gets
cute
but it gets
story till I got
weirder.
back, like we've had this evil plan
That-
since we were
that,
children.
right? Well, then here's what even more of the evil weirdness. So the brothers said they're very, very close. They have no plans to want to live apart. So the four of them are going to be moving into the small house that the brothers are in. I guess it's a 2-bedroom house. I think
No.
apartment or house with both of couples living in there. That's the part that
No.
blew. Well, the evil
That's-
thing was bad, but what do you think of that?
No.
So
Find
that's
out
where
on-
that story
It's going to be on
stops.
Dateline in about
How
5 years.
bizarre,
We
right?
think nope.
How
Was it
bizarre
murder?
is that? Right?
Identical
Identical
I know it's-
murder.
When's the last time anybody checked on the welfare of these women?
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
This is not okay.
I know.
Blink
And
twice
first,
if you need
like,
help.
Any
Thank you,
brothers
Kat.
and sisters living together with their siblings in a small house, I
Mm-hmm.
don't care how genetically similar you are, that's gonna get ugly.
Yeah.
At some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because you two like each other doesn't mean all four
Yeah,
of you are gonna like each
Oh,
other.
Exactly.
right. No, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Does everybody get along with their brothers and sisters that well? Maybe it's different with
Oh,
twins,
not to
but
live with them. No,
Yeah.
Not to
no.
live.
I mean,
A great
not.
nation divides us.
but
I can do one car
but it
ride
was
a year
weird
with my
because
sister.
they don't give they didn't give a whole lot of information, but it sounded like it was the guys the brothers' relationship that was really dry. Like the girls didn't say, well, I think they made it sound like the girls were fine with living in separate houses, and the twin boys were like, nope.
Took them hostage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of got that weird
I would
feeling.
understand neighbors.
There's not a
like,
well-
let's
Neighbor,
buy
yeah,
adjoining
now that's-
houses.
Now there you go.
Next,
That's
that would be
charming.
You should call them.
Or even a cul-de-sac. But,
Right.
But
Well,
they,
with housing prices these days, wait a minute.
well, Jesus, they're waiting for the bubble to
we got,
burst.
we got 4 more people betting on the bubble to burst.
Right. But
I'm sorry about your home value.
right.
I'm gonna take that one for the team. I feel like the girls need it.
They do. They
Yeah.
really do.
The girls need a room of their own.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
one
Weird,
kitchen.
huh?
That would be a little much. That would
That's
be a
too
little
many
much.
adults in one kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or well, you said it was a tiny house, right?
Well, I
No,
think it was like 2 bedrooms. They
No,
said.
fuck that. No, it
Yeah.
needs to be a huge house.
Huge.
Huge house. That would be
Wings.
Yeah, literally 2 different. Even the common areas could
Yeah.
be separate, but you might have a common kitchen. That might be okay. A big ass fucking kitchen.
Right.
But no, I don't.
Like
think I
on
could.
Dallas,
Yes.
right?
Sure.
That kind of big
What
of
was
a
the name of
house.
that house? South Fork.
South Fork.
How do I
yeah.
remember that?
Why does it seem like you're not even? You're just so far away from your mic. It just. I don't know why you're.
I'm
right
trying to talk
here.
into mine for a change.
You get. Al, it's your.
Didn't want Mike anymore. All right, so despite its best efforts, Papa John's is still paying for offensive remarks
Tacos people
made
Good.
by
For
its
him.
founder.
Good.
John Schnatter admitted last month to using the N-word on a conference call. He apologized and resigned as Papa John's chairman soon after Forbes published a story about the incident. And the incident is really weird. Please take a moment and look that story up, because it's odd. It was like some kind of a corporate...
That's not what people think.
No, it's very bizarre.
It was a training about not being racist.
For not being racist, and someone encouraged him to start yelling that word at the top. I don't. It's just
Surprise.
No, part of the if I may,
Yeah.
part of the training was about, maybe things not to say at work, like the N word, or they were saying, and then how to get it. And then he just sort of chimed in. He was like, well, like things change over time. Back when Colonel Sanders was there, he used to call people, and he was saying
The N-word.
the N-word all the way through. And he was like, right? Like, that's what they used to do, and we shouldn't do that now. But he kept repeating it over and over again. So,
oh, okay.
Yeah.
It was different than I understood it too.
so at first, I did have to say, I was like, well, it wasn't like he just was initiating it. He was
Right.
sort of speaking like, I might tell a story like that in the classroom. I
Right,
might say,
right.
well, guess what Colonel Sanders used to say in the chicken play. I guess I won't be doing that now, but but people were
I
saying
was
he
happier
got
not knowing that about Colonel
then
Sanders.
he got carried away.
Yeah,
So
I mean he's a pig. Don't get me
Yeah.
No,
wrong.
right.
Yeah.
But even
other
before
people said
this
they were
story-
uncomfortable. So here we go with the whole I'm uncomfortable.
right.
So
But even before this
that
story
was
came
it.
out,
oh,
he was
he's
also
a pig.
right.
Yeah.
So that was not. We're okay with it. I think.
I'm
but-
100% okay with it.
Even a friendly fire took him down. On Tuesday, the company said its same store sales in North America fell 10.5% in July and 6.1% in the most recent quarter. Results have been challenged by recent events, the president and CEO of Papa John said in a statement. Our entire leadership team understands the importance of getting our culture and business improvements right. Shares fell more than 10% after hours. On a call with analysts, Ritchie said that Papa John's stakeholders agreed with the company to take Schnatter out of the public eye.
Well, and didn't they literally? They took him out of the entire thing, didn't they?
Yeah, he's gone. He's
Yeah.
off the board and everything.
Right. I
Um,
mean,
days
still
after the
making
racial
money.
slur scandal broke, Papa John's announced it would remove his image from its marketing materials where he was featured prominently. A special committee of the board of directors will oversee an outside auditor's investigation in Papa John's culture, including the company's existing processes, policies, and systems related to diversity and inclusion. Ritchie said that Papa John had already made the decision to distance himself from Shatner after he said in November that the NFL protest hurt sales. So he was already part of the Trump
Oh, it was
bashing,
horrible.
the
Yeah.
war with the NFL. So, I mean, he's not coming from a happy place.
No.
So Schnatter, who said he regrets resigning from his post as chairman, isn't walking away without a fight. He remains on the
course.
board and owns 20% of the company's stock. He has filed a lawsuit against the company requesting to see company documents because of the unexplained and heavy-handed way in which the company has treated him since the publication of a story that falsely accused him of using a racial slur. Papa John's denied his claims. The company said it was saddened and disappointed by the lawsuit, which it called needless and wasteful. And if you're suing a company you owe a third of, aren't you suing yourself for a third?
Yeah.
I don't know how my math is
I
on
was
that.
told there would
But
be
I
no
would,
math.
but I would think, in with regard to this story, and I'm not defending him, but I would think you own 20% of the stock of the company. They are going into a self-saving mode. We're going
Sure.
to get you the fuck out, because if you don't want to lose all your fucking money,
Right.
we're going
Right.
to get you out of here, and we're going to
Right.
just figure out how to get out of this and move on. You still got 20% of your stock, and you're on the board. Shut up.
Right, in a land where Domino's upped their game slightly, Pizza Hut's still around, mediocre price point pizza is a competitive market.
Oh, yeah.
Like, don't shoot yourself in the foot. Don't shit where you literally
Well,
eat.
and then you found
and
out,
get your money
we found
from
out when he passed away, the guy that owned Little Caesars, what a wonderful person he was from the standpoint of all of the donations he did, all of the fundraising stuff that he did, and all without any fanfare. Nobody knew about it
Right.
until after he died.
And there's a
philanthropy. That's the
Who,
word. I wanted.
who did I miss?
The
the
guy,
guy from Little Caesars.
the guy who
Oh,
owned
yeah.
Little Caesars. All the
Pizza, pizza.
philanthropy.
And so
yeah.
there's one rung. That's another price tier.
He also, if we
down.
want the list of horrors of John Schneider. Remember, someone said to him, if you just raise the price of your pizza 6 cents, and your
the
place could
Obamacare thing, that's right.
Yeah, and he said, no, I
Fuck
don't
this
care.
guy.
Fuck it.
Yeah.
I don't want universal health care.
Yeah,
For
if
6
everybody
cents
paid,
a pizza.
If everybody paid a
Yeah.
dime more per pizza,
He could give it to
all
us.
of his employees could have health care.
And he said no.
Fuck this guy.
Yeah,
Oh,
why
yeah.
would-
He said and I don't know if it's in this thing you're reading out. They were saying one of the things is they're like the company's saying what do we do with the name?
Right.
Like it's his name is still on there.
Well, I mean, and then you get to a point where it's just something you say. Like, I have forgotten a long time ago that Colonel Sanders was actually a person.
Yeah, he was.
Or that there was a Chef Boyardee.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
now he's played by the drag queen who plays Reba McEntire. So that's
Right, so it's very confusing. So now
it's getting more confusing.
Now I think it's transgendered chicken, so I'm so confused.
And I think a lot of people also forgot that it was Kentucky Fried Chicken and not KFC. Like
Right.
they all, everybody's used
Right.
to it now.
So it is
Right.
possible to kind of move along.
Right,
with-
because to me that's just some old white guy they put. You know what I mean? You
That's a good
start to
point.
forget.
He
you do
actually
forget.
started the
Right.
deal, right? Just like Ray Kroc started McDonald's.
I don't
though
know,
he
it's-
wasn't
Nobody knows
but
that.
he but
Yeah.
he wasn't an advertising
It's a
part
good
of
point.
it. Ronald McDonald
he
became
wasn't
that.
Old McDonald.
No,
And he didn't have a
I
farm.
thought it went from the farm
EI.
to the hamburger.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's how we get hamburgers.
And you watch the
No,
cows, and you watch the cows breeding, and you know about sex, and
That's how
then a hamburger comes out.
Yep. Oh, the cow in the
That's
medical
what
childhood
booth.
right
That's
there.
what happens when
Medical
cows have
bee.
sex. A hamburger pops
Yeah,
out.
sure, yeah. If they're going
You-
fast, it's a double.
That's just
How do
as
they get the cheese?
Oh, don't ask. That was not a clean cow.
That's a three-way, and a dairy cow comes in.
Yeah, that's a poorly kept woman that makes the cheese.
Add some magnesium to that.
Add some magnesium, and you can sleep.
Remember the part where you were peeing out your vagina? Same story.
Well,
I didn't mean to
Wow.
point at you.
wow.
My hands are right here.
Yep.
I'm ready to see
Yeah, so I
both
can
hands.
see
man.
'em.
I'm gonna just a side note story because she texted me earlier about before I tell my next official story. We were talking last week about the Brady Bunch house.
Oh, yeah.
Out in the California.
Don't do that. Do your story.
Don't do that.
Yes, do your story.
Then I'll hold that
No, do that.
and we'll do it later.
Because then we'll do it later. Right.
Back to our regularly scheduled story. I'm gonna go back to what I was gonna say before.
Seems like a good idea.
A van
Production meetings.
A van driver in the UK has
That
been
wasn't me.
fined almost $400 for keeping trash in his vehicle. This, according to police reports. Stuart Gosling was slapped with a fine by council workers after he kept empty potato chip bags, sandwich wrappers, and water bottles in a plastic waste bag in his van, which authorities deemed him to be carrying rubbish without permission. Now, according to him,
Rubbish.
Well,
Wait,
it's
I need
rubbish.
permission to carry trash in my
But
van?
wait till you see how ridiculous this story gets. He says, quote, "It's so infuriating. The working class man gets penalized for going to work," basically, said Mr. Stewart, who's 43, and a roofer from Cheshunt in Hertfordshire.
Roofer.
He says, "I've not fly tipped," which is a slang in the UK for dumping trash illegally. "I've not left it in someone's garden. It's frustrating the hell out of me. There was just a bag of trash bottles, and potato chip bags and sandwich wrappers in a plastic bag.
Don't they call them crisps there?
What they do call them crisps. What gets me is the lack of common sense in this whole story.
La-di-da.
It's a lot of money for one bag of rubbish. He was driving through Chingford in London when he was pulled over by employees of the Waltham Forest Council. I don't know why he was pulled over. They searched his van and deemed that he was transporting waste industrially, even though the bag simply contained remnants of his lunch.
Crisps.
He was given a fine for failure to furnish documentation as a waste carrier. He says, I got out of the
This is
van.
a bored police force.
He says, I got out of the van and had a look, Stewart said. They were talking about a plastic bag around 2 feet high, which was filled with rubbish from my lunch. He, the council representative, just
was
said,
his lunch?
you're going to be fined for this. The $390 fine was due to be paid within 2 weeks of the fine being handed down back on May 23rd. Gosling has appealed the fixed penalty notice, but he was rejected. While he could be prosecuted for not paying the fine, he has no intention of paying it. He says it seems a bit stiff, to be honest. A warning would have been more understandable. And in my opinion, when I'm going to show you the picture in a minute, that's even bullshit. It just aggravated me. He says it should be common sense. I had no idea you needed a waste license. You have to be polite to these people, but it annoyed me. A spokesman for the Waltham Forest Council was clear on the issue, saying, quote, the waste in this case was being transported in a commercial refuse bag in a trader's vehicle. So I'm guessing it was a work vehicle. Regardless of what the items are, if waste is being stored in a commercial refuse bag in a trader's van, it is necessary that they have a valid waste carrier's license. Suck it. I mean, that's just bullshit.
Yeah.
It is widely recognized as best practice for tradesmen to be licensed to avoid legal repercussions in the event that they are required to transport even small quantities of waste. Now, I'm going to show you a picture. Here is him showing the ticket. That's the bag from his lunch that just had all the crap left over from lunch in it. And they decided to give him a little fine for it.
He looks awfully fit for someone who eats
Yeah.
that many
Somebody
crisps.
eats that many
He's
crisps.
a roof,
I know.
He's a roofer.
Oh, God bless him.
He's up on the roof. He's doing
They have
stuff.
roofs in England now?
They do. Yeah.
God bless.
What is he supposed to do with it? What's the solution like? That
Well, I
would
guess
be that,
immediately put it in a trash bin somewhere.
Oh.
Just throw it outside, just throw it on the ground.
But-
What if he's on the roof?
As long as you're
Fling
in
it
the same
park.
county.
Yeah.
As long as you're in the same county.
I don't know. But then what would you, okay, let's say you're
Right.
unpackaging shingles from a
Yeah.
rooftop that you just wrote, and you just decide to put all of the packaging from the shingles in your van to take them back to the shop to dispose
He's
of
doing
them.
the right thing. Yeah.
Wouldn't you still be, but they're saying because it was in a plastic bag.
We're going to have to go fund me for this guy.
That's bullshit.
Yeah.
total
I
bullshit.
mean, I would give him praise for not throwing it out. Thank you
Yeah,
for not littering our streets
exactly.
with all this shit
Right.
like everybody else does.
Right.
I'm still concerned for his health.
Yeah.
All
I
those
know.
crisps.
Chips.
Check his magnesium
Those are
level.
French
He's
fries.
British. They're crisps.
That's just crazy. Anyway.
Oh, speaking of crazy and speaking of roofers,
Okay.
Where we're going with this.
the buyers for the Brady Bunch home. You don't know where we're going with this? I stopped you from saying
No, I do. I was trying to. I tried to feign excitement for your and surprise.
It worked wonderfully.
Didn't work. All right.
And it all went wrong.
Continue on. Carry on. Carry over. Carry
Oh,
Grant.
the Brady Bunch home located in Studio City, California, has finally revealed the buyer.
Ah.
I'm very sad about this.
Uh-oh.
This is dumb and disappointing. It's HGTV.
Oh.
Ugh.
She was taking a very different.
Now there'll be
angle to this
another
story than
Were
I-
show
you
about
excited
the
about it? I'm not excited about
damn
it.
I'm not. I don't think excitement is the word I was going to use, but continue on.
Oh, well, they announced the purchase during an earnings call for the corporate company that owns HGTV, saying that the network bought the house for a new renovation series that promises to restore the home to its 1970s glory.
Oh, all right.
But-
Shag carpeting and
But
wood paneling for
But if you'll
everyone.
recall the pictures I showed,
It was.
It's already
yeah,
there.
It was already
They're
that
just
way.
going to clean the carpet. Like I don't know what.
Oh,
they're
I didn't see the pictures.
Oh, we had them last week.
Well-
all the pictures of the house that were
They,
all original from
Oh,
the
no,
70s.
it wasn't a week that I was here.
Well, let me see if I
It
can
must have
find
been 2
my
weeks
clip.
ago.
oh, maybe Doug was sitting right there.
I was.
Let me
Those
see if-
faces, aren't they?
I was there when the Brady night happened.
Let's find some
and I think
pictures.
we
Let me.
did
I'll
that
find the
story,
pictures.
too.
You got.
Well,
you read your story.
They say one of our projects for HGTV will speak to those Brady Bunch fans on a call. You may have heard that the house from the iconic series was recently on the market in California. I'm excited to share that HGTV is the winning bidder and will restore the Brady Bunch home back to the 1970s glory, as only HGTV can.
By filming it.
Right. by
I'm making
filming
a
it.
show about it.
Now, there was some confusion because former NSYNC superstar and big fat homo Lance Bass
Yes.
Unrelated to the story.
show me the lie.
Yeah, show me the lie.
Big fat homo.
Announced last week that the buyers had accepted his bid that was well over their initial asking price of $1.8 million. But then Bass says that after the deadline passed, quote, a Hollywood studio came in and outbid him. He got cheated out of his Brady Bunch house.
And also, if I'm not mistaken, they came in and outbid him after bidding had closed.
Right, after the deadline.
So they did a little shell
They
game
did a
on
little
that
bidding
bullshit.
war, and then HGTV came in and said, well, how much did this guy pay? Because I'll give you more. That's
You know what they said to him? They went, bye,
Shit.
bye, bye.
Is that the right group?
Oh, that is the right group.
All right.
Yeah,
Is
no,
that
he
pertinent?
did really good. That was
I
quite
stole it from another TV show that did it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, fair.
I wouldn't
fair,
have
fair.
admitted it.
Well, as you might expect, Lance is feeling heartbroken, as he announced on Instagram.
Crestfallen.
Crestfallen. He says, as many of you have heard, we placed the winning bid on the iconic Brady Bunch house. At least that's what they were told. The next day, due to unforeseen circumstances, that same agent
Money.
informed us that there's another corporate buyer
Mm-hmm.
who wants that house at any cost.
Bastards.
At any cost.
Fight the power.
So then I'm
Fine.
assuming once it's redone.
Hashtag justice for
So then-
Lance. Hashtag give him
So
Peter
then once
Brady,
it's
hashtag.
redone and they've done all their bullshit, then they'll sell it again. Because what are we
I
going to
think
do?
they
Just
should
leave
light
it as a...
light it on fire.
So then
If
like...
Lance can't have it, nobody
burn
maybe
it down.
burn it that
So
fucker
Burn
down.
it down.
So Lance
I'm
will have
Team
his
Lance.
chance. Get that thing. Where's the other? Oh, here it is. All right, so Al, for you, just for you, we'll go through these real quickly. So this is there's the picture of the house you recognize, from the deal. Here's the kitchen. So
They did some stuff there.
in his 70s glory.
That is not the Brady's kitchen.
No, nothing inside the house at all was Brady's.
Right.
They just used
Just
it
the
for exterior
outside.
shots, and nothing
Am
inside.
I new?
Pay attention.
In some ways, yes. So I guess this is how it looks right now, but like they don't really have to restore it. That's old shit there.
Well, I'm hoping they're going to turn it into the Brady's house.
But that kitchen wasn't 70s. That kitchen was like 1987.
that's made 80s.
That-
I mean, this is just
farmhouse.
horrible decor.
Yeah, I see a little bit of the paneling,
Horrible.
but that carpet's the wrong color. That carpet needs to be either
Orange.
gold
Oh, get
or
ready!
rust.
Get ready for this.
Yes.
Look at that horrible.
Yeah, HGTV's got a lot of work to do. And the other thing they need to put in this house, which I don't know if it's possible in
What?
this, what I'm guessing is a mid-century modern,
Lance Bass.
that staircase. Like, they got a lot of work to do to restore that to its... First
try
off, the
and make
outside, that could be any fucking house. That doesn't look like the Brady's house.
It also
Oh, it
has.
does. It
al-
totally does.
Well,
The
no,
outside does.
That there's an intercom system in it, so you
that
can
looks
play.
very 70s. But
That's-
go back to that initial house. That's not... And then put the Brady's house up.
Well, stand by. I've got that picture too.
That is
From
not
that-
what the
yeah.
Brady's house looked
yeah,
like.
Yeah, it is.
Let me find.
Except for there's a window in the gable there.
Oh, here. In fact, there's the Brady house, which the trees have all grown up. The window that you see right below the gable was put there just for that shot. It's not real. It's because if you look in.
Wait, what window below the gable?
See
Point
the
to it.
see the I can't point to it. Oops, that's not what I want. Yeah, so that
Oh, okay.
actually I'll make this a little bigger for the people. Yeah, so that the window there is not real. That's just put
Yeah,
there
I was
for
gonna
the
need.
shot.
I needed the helicopter shot for it to feel Brady-ish.
Gable. Window.
Yeah, so that window is not there. Trees are grown up. The wall in front was built later because they were trying to keep people out of the yard because everybody and their brother would take. It's the second
they got
most.
a lot to do to make this look like the Brady house.
Well, wait,
like-
did it? It
It
didn't
doesn't
say
say they're
going to
try
do
and
the Brady
it.
house.
They're going to restore
Restore
it
it.
to their 70s glory.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
They're gonna put
Anything
some
would be better
orange
than the deck.
motherfucking carpet in
that
Exactly.
there.
decor that's in there now.
They're
is-
gonna put that same couch that everybody had in their
Yeah,
basement, the
exact-
green one. You know what I'm
the
talking about?
green one,
You know
yes.
what
Oh,
I'm
don't
talking
forget the
about?
one with the wagon. Remember the wheel of water with the
Yes.
the pastoral picture
Yes.
across 3 cushions. Remember that shit?
I do.
Kind of, yeah.
Everybody had that.
I wasn't a huge Brady Bunch fan, but anyway, but yeah, so yeah, the inside of the house, that was nothing to do with the rest of
Well,
it.
I am here as a huge Brady Bunch fan, and I'm telling you that did not look. That could have been any mid-century modern. I did not get Brady's from that at all.
Here's what I have to say. Poor Lance.
And
But he still has a chance. When HGTV does whatever they're going to do, he could still buy it then.
Better buy it for a song.
who wants? Yeah, exactly. Oh,
he won't.
no.
No, he won't. Because they're going to milk
Marnie.
this. They're going to milk this forever, HGTV. It's going to be a whole
Move
fucking
on, Lance.
season.
Move on. They don't deserve you.
Buy another mid-century modern and turn it into the Brady house. I mean, how fucking hard is that?
Maybe.
or just build your own house from
Because
ground
again,
up.
no staircase. The thing that made that house so fantastic was that goddamn
Yeah,
staircase.
that really was cool.
And that floor plan with the living
always
room
thought
and the
that staircase
separate
was a
den.
den
And
trap. I was
also the
always afraid they were
separate
gonna
room
fall off
that
that
Greg
staircase.
got because he was the oldest.
Which you ran out of
The old-
house by that
right.
point. Where was it? Like,
Yeah.
how was
There's
there,
no Jack
where,
and Jill
where was
bathroom.
the where
That-
was the
that
attic
house
in that
was 7 acres
motherfucker?
deep.
Yeah. But the Jack and Jill bathroom, that was really cute.
That's not part of that house. That was
And
all
with-
done for the studio.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. So, like, give me something to look at, because outside it doesn't look like it.
I'm not watching the show.
Yeah.
I say that about people too.
Yeah.
Inside doesn't have anything. Give me something on the outside
Where's
to
your
look
fancy
at.
staircase? That's what I'm always telling people.
Oh, backyard.
No, would you, Carlton, the grand
wow.
staircase, yeah.
The
I promise to
grand-
only be in the front in this
It's a
relationship.
Gran Torino.
It's a Gran
Torino.
Torino, Christina.
Oh, good.
You know what? And speaking of Dion
Yes,
Brown,
yes.
side note, I was very happy to see something. Dion, because of the health of his dog, Mabel Pie, which he lost within this past year, he could never travel. He couldn't go anywhere. In fact, he couldn't even come do our show because
Yeah.
every 3 hours or so he had to medicate the dog. I was very happy to see. I'm sorry for the loss of his dog, but he went to California this weekend.
Oh, good.
And there were pictures of him. He went to one of the cemeteries where like Betty Davis and
Yeah.
everybody is out there. He went through all
Sure.
the Judy Garland and all that whole shit. But I was just happy to see Dion out doing something because he was no longer tethered
Yeah.
to that animal that
Yeah.
he had to take care of.
It's another thing we can learn from animals, death.
Yes.
So anyway, that was just a side
Well,
note.
we could have done the whole circle of life. We
Yeah.
have animals
Well, speaking
breeding
of,
and animal death.
yeah. Well, hopefully
And
And how to put them
hamburgers.
in, how to put them in the freezer.
And
how
how
to
to
get
put
cheese
them
on it.
in the freezer and the cheese.
well, hoping not to kill the show. What's your next story there, Douglas?
Oh, are we on me? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so this one, Al and I, we both picked this similar one, so we could do this one together. But I have a funny little piece of it. But in a trend worthy of condemnation, condoms. People are apparently trying to stretch their dollars by reusing old
By
condoms.
stretching their condoms.
It may be thrifty, but it's also dangerous, very dangerous. That's why the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention felt obliged to be proactive about the proper use of prophylactics. The CDC released a tweet
Prophylactic use of prophylactic.
exactly. How meta. The CDC released a tweet last week reminding people not to reuse or rewash their rubbers. It's a great picture too, Clayton, if you find it.
I'm looking for another.
I
picture
love
that
the
we had.
CDC's tweet. This is what I loved about this. We say it because people do it. Don't wash or reuse. Use a fresh one for each sex act. When condoms are properly used, they can prevent pregnancy, reduce the risk of sexually transmitted disease, and protect against other diseases. Okay. So incorrect use,
Leads to all those
reusing
things
them.
in reverse.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. Some
Interesting.
people might think soap and water will kill everything. It doesn't. Okay.
So we tell people at the bar.
Here's the funny thing, though,
We
because
watched it. It's fine.
we're always waiting to see what the comments are going to be. And it said whether CDC's warning actually influences people or not remains to be seen, but it has led to a lot of hilarious snark. So, person's Twitter name at this moment was, "What a stupid time to be alive." Well, what the hell am I supposed to do with all these condoms in the dishwasher now? Brian said, "What about using one that someone else has used, or is that not good either?" Yeah, I'm not going to read the third one because
No,
I
I'm
can't.
sure.
I just suck everything out of them. Don't even need to wash them.
Okay, thank you, Al. I was not. Oh no, I just screwed
Nope.
up.
I'm quoting.
So,
It's like using the N word.
yeah.
Again, I stopped paying attention for 2 freaking minutes
Yeah.
to send a
And
message.
then look what
Trying
happened.
to get a shift covered.
So evidently, it was only, according to CDC, it is only about 3% of people that are doing this. But was there another comment? Oh, I lost my.
Oh, yeah, it says, I'm going to start a GoFundMe account
Yeah.
so that I can buy all of these people new condoms because we really don't want them reproducing.
No kidding. That's
Right.
true.
So it was only 3%, but they said they felt compelled. They had to.
I'd
Make
like
a
to reflect
public
back to
health
a
statement.
story that we did a few weeks ago
Uh-oh.
of the squirrel eating out of a condom.
Oh my God.
So
It was a metaphor for 2017.
The squirrel. Oh no.
I don't know what he was eating.
I can guess.
Oh, remember the nanny that was like, it's not my job to explain what, because the kids were so excited by what the squirrel was doing. And she's like,
Where did you find the balloon?
It's not my job to tell them what that is or what it's for. Nero said she doesn't own a dishwasher. Thanks, Obama.
Oh, Nero, I can wash my dildo. Good
Thanks,
for you.
Thanks,
And you
Obama.
should. Darling.
And remember,
you should.
anything's a dildo if you're brave.
Yeah. And Jenny, I thought you said pass phlegm out for free, so the poor don't need to reuse.
That's
Judy-
Pass them out for free.
I threw up a little in my mouth. Thanks, thanks, Obama. Thank you for saying that, Jenny. It's my favorite thing ever.
I don't even know what we're talking about.
Oh, it's a little bit nutty.
This feeling inside. Is that a used condom?
Oh,
I found something slip. Too much magnesium?
fully awake. I'm fully awake.
Too much.
Oh my gosh. Do you have any
No,
other
I'm
story?
good.
You really? You're gonna just twin that story together, and you're gonna?
Yes,
do
we
that?
both had it.
Okay.
so-
Well,
both
I just
had
didn't know
it,
if you were gonna add something else that I needed to be
No, I
prepared for.
added my 2 comments.
Okay,
They
gotcha.
were good.
Oh, I sent
They
this.
were lovely.
Yeah, thanks.
I
liked
sent
your
this
commentary.
story to my cousin today, who was the pilot, because I thought he'd get a kick out of this, because I thought it was kind of interesting. Police say an Arkansas man accused of trying to steal a commercial jet told investigators that he thought piloting the plane would really involve no more than pushing a few buttons and pulling a couple of levers. Investigators say that 18-year-old it's Devin Scott. We're just going to go with that, because that's
Okay.
his middle name. The first name is really odd.
Spell it.
Zemarcuis. Zemarcuis?
Zamartius. CIUS.
Devin Scott wanted
Zamartius.
Devin Scott wanted to fly out of state to a concert when he hopped inside an American Eagle jet in Texarkana Regional Airport.
Are we going to have a conversation about the security at Texarkana's airport?
We're going to get there.
Okay.
The Texarkana Gazette reports Scott was inside the cockpit of the plane when he was arrested early July 4th. He was charged Monday and remained in jail Thursday on commercial burglary and attempted theft of property charges. Envoy Air operates the plane, and the company says that the 44-seat jet was not damaged. Miller County jail records don't list an attorney for Scott, who also lives in Texarkana. An affidavit says police found Scott after responding to reports of a man jumping the fence at the airport. I don't know how high the fences are at the old Texarkana Airport Hair Care and Tire Center.
Yeah. Right, because I'm thinking the Texarkana airport's not the fanciest of all the...
Probably not. But yeah, there he was trying to. Oh, you're just gonna go to jail. Did you hear the story of the 2 elderly men that escaped the nursing home to go to a heavy metal concert?
Yes.
I haven't heard the whole story, but I thought that was great. These 2 old guys conspired. Get the fuck out. We're gonna go bang our head at a concert. I don't even know what concert they went to. You might be able to Google that rather quickly and find out, my dear. What's your name? Kat Carlson.
What? Who?
It was elderly men escape a rest home to go to a heavy metal concert. And I don't know how they found them or how they figured out where they
They
went.
probably came back because you're like, now we're homeless.
I don't know.
Rocking out with their
don't know
cocks
either.
out.
Don't know.
I'm not able to.
Maybe when they
Google
brought the babes back from the concert to the rest home to,
that. Found it,
Yeah.
use
found it.
condoms.
The tennis balls and
Go
socks.
to there. Oh, I'm having such technology problems today.
Really?
You know, did I tell you my phone died for?
Are
Like 3
twins
hours
allowed
today?
to reuse condoms?
No. Did
Yes.
you not have a charger?
That's how you get
The
twins.
charge wasn't the problem. It was charged. It's awful.
My God, Kat. What's
They
going
didn't
on?
hear that, but I don't
Yeah,
care.
Yeah, it's literally how you make twins. Reuse
Oh my
condoms.
gosh.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see. Well, it's the same batter.
So the old guys that in Germany that escaped their nursing
it was
home.
in Germany. Okay.
Yeah,
Fucking
first,
German people.
German.
Yeah.
Du hast. Second, they went to the Wacken Open Air Music Festival
Seems legit.
to
Yeah.
listen to the likes. Where the fuck did my article go? Fuck you,
Mine
advertisements.
does that all the time, too.
Fuck you, advertisements.
Fucking advertise. I don't want to see your delicious hamburger and French fries. They went to go headbang to the likes of Danzig, Judas Priest, Cannibal Corpse, and Death by Sorrow.
Nice.
I know 2 out of 4 of those, so I
Yeah.
feel
Judas
excited.
Nice.
about it.
Priest has got no rhythm.
It's true.
That's what I always sing in that part of the song.
And why not?
Yeah. Danzig, the only thing I know about them is that one song, Mother, that played all the time, like 25 years ago.
Oh.
Yeah.
Glad I missed that.
Tell your
Yeah.
children not to walk my way.
Have we
He
talked?
was all shirtless and muscly. I don't know.
Oh, maybe it was the entertainment. We'll talk about it. I don't know. Did we already talk about the new Queen movie? Did we do that last week? Seems like
We did not.
the preview.
I know, but
I
they're
don't know
Or I
that we
wasn't
did.
listening.
they're
I'm not
really
sure.
hitting that pretty hard. They're really like pushing that hard.
Well, you see a lot more movies. I figured you've seen a lot more trailers in the theater.
Yeah, and today we actually just planned to get to the movie like 20 minutes late because
Oh,
I've seen so many
all
movies
the-
in the last 3 weeks. And I'm like, I can't sit through those same 4 trailers again.
Ro-
But the Queen one it looks really good. I mean, it's a trailer. They don't really give you any idea of like how the story's gonna go. But
You know that movie one that you were both on, movie, the M4?
oh yeah,
on-
yeah.
They played it, and someone brought something up, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. That it looks from the trailer like they went more gloss than grit, and like I want the edgy, like gritty, real story. But
Right.
They think they went, and I like that term, like more gloss than like it's going to be the shinier version, but maybe that's more marketable.
Right, and that might be how there's, one of my favorite things about the trailer for Chicago, the movie, there was no singing in that trailer.
Yeah,
They did not advertise that as a musical.
yeah.
So that
by
surprised some
design.
people when they got there.
Yeah, and they
Well, they
pushed
had it coming.
Yeah.
You're
Very
welcome.
good.
I knew that
very
was going to
good.
happen at some point.
So I'd like to bring that up, like how they present something is not always what you get, and Chicago being the main one, that they not one person hummed a note in that trailer.
Just a story about.
Yeah, but it had the drum roll and everything, and it was obviously to a beat, but there was no one singing. You would never know that was a musical.
I never thought.
And that was I thought it was a very odd choice.
Well, we've learned that.
I mean,
now.
it worked. It made a lot of money and won Best Picture.
Oh yeah,
And
I loved
holds
it.
up beautifully, by the way. Another movie I've seen again recently that I'm like, holy shit, that motherfucker
Yeah,
is
it's a
well
good movie.
made. Like, that is tight filmmaking.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a while. I should probably watch that again. All right, here we go, Alfie.
I don't have a lot. We'll be out of here fast. I have 2 new obsessions. One on Netflix, one that's really hard to find, but I found it, and I'm going to talk about it for the 2nd week in a row because I'm still obsessed with it. A really good movie I saw with someone from Hamilton was very good, and I'm going to defend the indefensible. So.
And we had a celebrity death this week.
Oh yeah.
We'll get to
I was
that.
almost home.
I was almost home.
Almost
Oh,
home.
she's home now.
All right, hour 3 is coming up. It's going to kick off with Al Perkins and Entertainment coming up in just seconds right here on Q Talk.
Hey girl, you okay?
You're listening to Q Talk America. This is the Q Talk America Radio Network.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you are at the point of no return. It's the last hour, 45 minutes or 30 minutes. We don't know how long it's going to last, but you're in the final stages of this show on this Tuesday night.
Unless, of course, you already quit, and then the end of
Right.
the show.
For example, Nero
happened?
Nero is stepping out of the chat room because she's got to get ready for work. You got some things to do. She's on an early shift next week, so she's going to miss the show. Thank you, Nero, for joining us. Before she goes, she wants to recommend Castle Rock to everyone. It's on Hulu.
That sounds
Well, thank you
lovely.
for that.
Sure. Let's do
Kat
that.
Carlson is sitting here
Here I
along
am.
with Doug Wilkie. Al Perkins is going to be back in just seconds. He ran somewhere in the house to figure out something. Maybe he's looking for the staircase for the Brady Bunch. This is a single level house, Al. Sorry
Is
to
it a
tell you.
grand staircase?
Could be. Very well. Well, if Al's on it, of course it's going to be grand. Anywho, we are here. It's a Tuesday. Marnie has the night off. She had an unexpected thing she had to do for work, because that's how work goes. That's how life is. We're going to kick off this hour by talking to Al Perkins a little bit about entertainment stuff.
Well, Doug is going to tell us first about his obsession
Oh,
since
yeah.
we skipped that part, so we'll start there.
Sorry.
But it's part of it's an
It
entertainment.
ties
Oh,
into
yeah, very much
entertainment.
so.
Entertainment.
Okay, so it's Sunday night CNN programming. They are doing, as people have been following along, the documentary series produced by Tom Hanks about each decade. So it started with the 60s and ran through all the way up till now. They're in the 2000s. And it's just first rate. I've seen every single episode of every single one of them. Al loved it the 70s one, so did I. I loved it the 80s one. Those are the ones of my, our formative years. So that was great. But I just forget, like, when you watch it again. So if you're not familiar with the series, I think there's 6 or 8 episodes for each one. And
decade.
they focus on a different one. So they focus on usually entertainment. This one's focused. You'll love Clayton. They do one on everything technology and
Technology
IT.
ones,
yeah.
right.
It's so good. And then they just did the Crash was this last week
Okay.
one, but you forget it's really well done. The production value is really good and the editing is really good, but it really takes you back. And there's so many things that you kind of don't remember, and when they get into it, you're like, oh shit, that that was fucked up. Like,
Yeah.
and in every part, and in some are lighter than others. They always do a light one too, but it really takes you back into that moment really, really well. And so I don't know if you're
I think they're
into nostalgia.
fascinating.
I think they
Yeah.
are too. Like, I want to start at the beginning and watch them all again.
Right.
And you could, and you wouldn't even be bored. And then the other one is the history of comedy that they're doing. There's another installment one where they did women in comedy, and then this one last week. Did you see it? It's called Gone Too Soon. Oh my gosh, it's every
Oh.
comedian that
It's gone too
too soon. And at first I was like, well, okay, but it was some people I didn't really know all that well, but they really got into the dark side of comedy, and that that is a lot of them. They go early, there's drug addiction, there's depression.
Well,
John
yeah.
all kinds
Belushi
of-
was 30.
And
Yeah,
Lenny
yeah,
Bruce.
yeah.
And
And so they did a really nice thing too, is they said, well, we're just going to include everybody, not just the tragically died, early, because really when they're that wonderful of a comedian, they're always gone too
yeah,
soon.
even Joan Rivers. And
So, well, this is what I thought. So, of course, I thought when Joan Rivers, I thought of you, Al. But they do Don Rickles, or so
Don
great,
Rickles.
like 92 and still telling jokes, and
Yeah.
they just and
George
but when they
Carlin.
have the panelists, they do not panelists, the interview segments of all the people,
Right.
And it was so nice to see them all say like Don Rickles was the best, and they
Oh,
just
yeah.
go through so many different people, and they just talked about so many aspects of why that there is so much kind of drama underneath comedy, and so it was really compelling.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it really it's.
What's the old adage?
fascinating.
It's
Tragedy.
Tragedy and time equal comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But no, I agree. I love the series like that. The other one I've been watching, I think there's only been 2 thus far. And again, I know I talked about it. The Story of Cool on
Yeah.
MSNBC.
Yes.
Which again, it's very interesting to when they go through. Well, the first one I watched was what makes things cool, and then
Right.
the other thing, the one I just watched was product rivalries, like Adidas and Nike and Puma,
Coke and
like
Pepsi.
all that Coke, Pepsi,
Yeah.
Apple and Macintosh,
Sure.
or not Apple and Macintosh, Apple and Microsoft, and just Ford and Chevy, like all of those rivalries of brands. What makes it happen? How does it work? It was just very interesting. The way that marketers do things
Sure.
and how things come up. I didn't realize that Adidas and Puma were 2 brothers that got in a fight and split off and
I
made
didn't
2
know
shoe
that.
companies.
I did
I did know that because, and I forget why. Because is Puma a god? But Adidas is, or there's something.
But Puma's a cat.
Yeah, but there's some, and Adidas is a god, and there's a reason.
Their last, I know his Adidas is a
Adidas
combination
sounds
of the one brother's first and last name.
Right, but it has something to do with the god complex too, and then like the
didn't realize.
spin-off, like it's something is either something is faster or something is more god like they played on.
Like a double meaning.
Yeah. Like I can't remember, but Adidas might be the god of speed.
In Greek mythology, Nike is the goddess of victory.
Oh.
Adidas is a contraction of the co-founders' names.
Oh, and Adidas.
Adonis is a god,
Right.
which is not Adidas.
And was Puma a god of some sort or anything? But I never knew that story.
There was, yeah, I just remember because there was something about the name. There's something about the naming of the companies in some kind of pissing contest.
And it was interesting to see other people on the deal, that were, like the Run DMC that always wore Adidas and all
Nike
the
that I was
rappers
thinking of.
and all the different things. It was interesting to have like Ice T, the rapper, was on there, and he's like, I never understood. Like, no, it wasn't him. I'm wrong. One of the other people were on there like, I never understood why Air Jordans were a big deal. Like he just is like,
he didn't
Adidas
get
was
it.
better.
Yeah.
Like I didn't get why Air Jordans.
Yeah.
Were, and it just was interesting. Like really. They're a multi-million-dollar franchise.
Well, I don't
but
like.
I just kind of thought it was funny.
I never wore tennis shoes or sneakers till I like lived out here. Like I wouldn't wear them because I was like, I'm afraid they'll be so comfortable I won't wear anything else.
But that
And where are we now with that?
But that cult of like
They are that comfortable and I wear them everywhere.
that cult of like Air Jordans and like people that'll pay like $400 for
Oh,
like
it's
sneakers.
higher
That
than
is
that. It's
that
Yeah.
is so.
So I had
lost
a
on me.
client a former client one time that had 120 pairs of is it Nike that makes Air Jordan? I think, or Nike.
I think so.
Something. Okay. Well, it was Nike, but I think that was Air Jordan. The premier thing, 120, and this is funny. He was a good-looking guy, and his girlfriend, the stereotype about girlfriends having shoes.
Yeah.
The whole shoe fetish thing.
Sure.
He said the first time they slept together at his apartment, and she came back in the bathroom, and because his closet was right there, she got back into the bedroom. She said, "We need to talk about your." She's like, "You're the first man I've ever met that has more shoes than I do," but he was the weird kind where they like buy them and they don't wear them, and then they save them, and. This is a weird thing I learned from him. And then, also saw on a TV show.
On Blackish, he displays them.
There is a not underground, secondary market. That's what it's called. That, are you ready for this? Is also in the billions. So the Nike sales is in the billions. But there's like these conventions of secondary market at like in Vegas and stuff.
They
and
have
people,
sneaker con.
That's it. That was the thing.
All these people get together and swap
and somebody
and
has
trade
the gold
yes.
lame one that's
Yes.
$8,000.
Yes.
Oh, it's just
It is crazy.
insane. Yeah.
They say that people buy them
Right.
one for the shelf
Right,
and one
one
for the
for-
street.
yes, that's
They wear
right.
one, they save one. Jason Carlton is a prime example.
Oh, my God.
He has, I don't know how many he has left. He said he's cleared out a lot of his shoes, but he has a couple boxes, never been worn, never been on a foot, in a box that he's waiting. It's going to be his retirement. He says.
Oh, my God.
And because he's one of those people. I don't understand it.
Right. I don't either. I holds no appeal.
Anyway, so, but it's fascinating. It is when you go back and you see all this stuff, Story of Cool, the 2000s, or any one of the decades.
I have to see this show.
I just think it's fascinating to
Is
see
it still going? Is it like a? Are there more episodes?
I'm sure it's on demand. I believe that they're going to do other ones. There's two that I've seen so far.
Okay.
But I believe there's a third one. It didn't record or I forget.
I love this kind of shows to find out how not cool I am.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And I'm the exact same
Yeah.
way. Like,
Yeah.
I don't give a shit about.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah, like again, it's blue jeans and a black V-neck. I don't give a
Right.
fuck who makes this black V-neck.
Right.
It's a lovely black V-neck,
It
by the
is.
way.
It's lovely. I don't care if I don't need a label. It doesn't.
Right.
As long as it's soft.
It doesn't. And it fits my fat ass. That's all that matters. Carry on, Mr. Perkins. Now with you.
Two things. So we're having. I don't know how the question of Castle Rock came up in the chat room.
Nero
recommended it before
Oh,
she
okay.
signed
Because
up.
Castle Rock is a new show, but and people were like, "Isn't it an entertainment company, a production company?" It is all of those things. Castle Rock is an imaginary town in Maine that Stephen King goes back to. Like Derry is the other one, over and over and over
Multiple
again.
stories.
Multiple stories, and then because Rob Reiner had such great success with Stand By Me, he named his production company Castle Rock Entertainment, and that's based as an homage to
And it
Stephen
has the
King.
lighthouse that goes like that when the movie starts.
Even though Castle Rock is not on the water,
right.
Although sometimes I think it does become near the water if you need it to be. Near
If the
water.
story's right.
The story's right. But now there's a TV show, because it's kind of funny all these years later of me reading Stephen King since day one, and like you know, like now it's back in fashion because the guys that made Needful Things, that was not Needful Things. Stranger Things was an homage to Stephen King. The producers of Lost were always doing homages to Stephen King, and now it's going back and forth. Rob Reiner's always been a fan. He made Misery. Like, he's done some great movies, and so they're not doing shitty 80s versions of Stephen King books anymore.
Right.
They're back to doing really good ones. And sometimes they make, like in Stand By Me, they move it to Washington. Sometimes in the movies, they don't make it Maine, they make it Washington. And I've never known why. And then I've been to Maine, and I'm like, well, how much is going to happen up there? Not a lot of people.
It's probably that more universal feel thing.
But when
people will relate.
Seriously, when I was in Maine, the first thing I thought was Stephen King has got this spot on the nose of like what Maine people, especially if you read Dolores Claiborne is
favorite.
the one that he really goes into detail
I love
about
both that book and
the movie. Yeah, perfectly done. That's when they started to come back a little bit. So my obsession this week and the movie we talked about last week, and now I did the snout to tail cooking with it and watched every single inch of it and all the special features, The Social Network.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Like one of the best movies I've ever seen,
love that movie.
Start to finish, in every detail. That scoring, the editing, the writing, those performances.
You told me to go watch it like I think last week or 2 years.
Because I caught like 2/3 of it on the airplane, thanks to American Airlines' beautiful entertainment section that they have, and how many movies you can watch. It was in their like classics part. I had to give them to them. It's where it belongs. I had forgotten how good this movie was, and that everybody in it has gone on to be a star.
Yeah.
Like. Dakota Fanning from 50 Shades of Grey shows up. Max Minghella from The Handmaid's Tale.
Okay.
He's in it.
You know I'm still mad at this story, right?
Armie Hammer.
Armie Hammer.
Armie Hammer is in there as the Winklevi.
Winklevoss
Yeah,
twin.
but they call he calls
Twins.
the Winklevi.
Twins are coming up tonight.
Winklevi.
It's the young he should have been Oscar nominated and he wasn't. That played Andrew Garfield, who went on to be Spider-Man, who had just had that one little movie, Never Leave Me Alone, Never Leave Me, that if you have not seen it, watch that motherfucking movie. That's where I saw him first.
I certainly wouldn't. That's the opposite of my motto.
Oh my God.
Wait
till you find out why they'll never leave. Oh my God. It is.
Is it Never Let Me Go?
Wow.
Is that what it is?
It's Andrew Garfield and the girl from the Harry Potter movies. Is it called? I don't know.
Emma
Because there is a Never Leave Me and there is a Never Let Me Go.
Wait, stand by. Let me
The
get
three
back.
Is by the same one that wrote The Remains of the Day.
Now we gotta look it
Yeah.
up.
Wait, I'm getting.
But I don't want to say it because I don't want to spoil the end of it. I don't want to describe it.
Well, it's all about whether or not it's about the three people.
Okay, I'm looking at the girl from Harry Potter, like Emma Watson, the girl from Harry Potter, right? This is the end. The bling ring, Colonia, the perks of being a wallflower, the circle.
Oh, that's the other movie where it's three of them. She's not in that one then.
Okay.
I'm sorry, that's my bad.
I'm like, wait a minute. I'm fairly familiar with the Emma Watson library.
But that's the movie with the three teenage kids too. They're a couple years apart. Jesus, Christmas. Carey Mulligan and Keira Knightley and Mark Romanek's dystopian science fiction Never Let Me Go.
Yeah, that's the creepy one.
Yeah.
Oh, Keira Knightley. I could see how you would make that mistake.
Yeah. There's three of them. So anyways, I saw him in Never Let Me Go and I was like, this is one to watch, and then that was the next movie he was in. But this movie is fantastic. Takes on the founding of Facebook, like what kind of people take that on, like Justin Timberlake as the guy from Napster. Mm-hmm. Who kind of like plays off it's the sleaziness that Mark Zuckerberg kind of wants. Like he's got that attitude of like oily snake salesman, you know what I mean? That snake oil salesman, that's what he wants. Like he's attracted to that because he's so desperate to be liked.
Be popular.
Kind of, but more to be like yeah. It's very odd because it's all about Harvard and getting into these final clubs and being in a position where they don't know that you're not from the right background. You're kind of like, it equals the playing field if you can get into like a fraternity or a final club. And he gets rejected all the time, and he just can't quite figure it out socially. So he does this horrible experiment and then fucks over friends.
Right.
And like takes a little bit of this idea, but like he says, like yeah, they had an idea, but so did the person that made a chair. You can't get sued by every person who makes a chair for,
Right. Oh.
Their idea was not his idea, but it's enough, and there's enough awkward emails, and he's probably the first person to learn in $1 billion manner. Don't write that down.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, the performances,
All evil plans and contracts should be verbal.
and Aaron Sorkin wrote it. So the dialogue starts in the blackout. So you go from the Columbia Pictures lady to black to the dialogue starting. So when the lights come on in the characters, they're already like mid-sentence and they're mid-conversation. Like you have to catch up. And he said that that's how he writes. He want you to always be. You can't do something else while you watch his movies or TV shows. The West Wing.
Yeah.
He wants to
super
make
true.
he wants to make
I love
sure
Aaron Sorkin.
you're not going to do something else. So
paying
you're
attention.
always
I
going to
don't know
be a
what kind of
second
weirdo
behind.
he is, but I want to watch all of his things.
Oh, because he's and so this is just it's brilliant. He won the Oscar for it and deservedly so. But there's one part that he talks about how he wanted it scored because like the Chicago screenplay, all those edits, all those choices are in the screenplay. Like that's not fake. The fades back and forth, and it's the same with The Social Network. Like the scenes of the running and like what they're wearing, that was all in the script. Like he wrote that in. But one thing that they changed was the scene where he's motivated and pissed off and running across the quad. He had this poppy Paul Young song called Love of the Common People.
Oh, yeah. I love that. Actually, I love that song.
Yeah, but instead they play this moody as fuck Trent Reznor.
Reznor, yeah, 9 Inch Nails.
9 Inch Nails. They play this moody as fuck piece as he goes across, and there's a kid on the quad playing the violin for money, or not, but practicing the violin, not playing for money, and he's playing it off key. And Sorkin in the commentary is like, this is how you know this movie's going to be different. He's like, what I pictured for this movie and what that scoring does right there is it just tells you this is not made by your grandfather. Like, this is not, this is a young and he's like, it just instantly changed the tone of the movie. So it's so good.
Oh, yeah, I love that movie.
Yeah, and just how it all started and how the lawsuits all played out. Rashida Jones is in it playing the Greek chorus. You know, she's one of the few make-believe characters. And she's there in the lawyer's offices just to react like you want to. Like, she's saying the things that you want to say out loud. Like, when it's time to be amazed by a fact that comes up in the court, she's like, wow, like, quietly.
All right.
But again, the greatest line, one of my favorite lines now in any movie is, I just want you to know you're going to be very successful, and you're going to think girls don't like you because you're a nerd, but from the bottom of my heart, it's because you're an asshole.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And she
Good
gets that
line.
dialogue in so fast. And you like no close-ups. David Fincher doesn't believe in close-ups. If you get a close-up, pay the fuck it. There is a reason why he has a close-up on a face. Like, just tail to snout. I would like, I seriously just bathed in that movie. It was so good. And so is that other one that Andrew Garfield, Never Let You Go. Very, very good.
Yeah, that's good.
My other obsession for the week, and I'm halfway through, is The Staircase on Netflix. This is much easier to find because The Social Network, you got to get the DVD somehow.
I saw that on Netflix too, but I didn't watch
It
that.
appears that I can rent it for $3.99
You
from
can- you
Amazon
can.
Prime.
Right. If you do not have the DVD mailers, then Amazon Prime for $3.99 is a nice way to spend your money for your 48 hours.
And I get 5% of that back, so I get like 28 cents back.
Oh, there you go. That's winning. Again, told there was be no math.
I basically get it for $3.50.
So this is the story of Michael Peterson, who was a writer who wrote stories about his Vietnam experience.
Yes, I've seen the previous.
He was accused almost instantly of killing his wife and saying that she fell down a flight of stairs. And it's one of those things like Capturing the Freedmans and
Which I
the
just watched
Tales
this week.
Yeah, oh my God. It's on. Is it on HBO?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, HBO. Again, you can't live without HBO.
I know.
Capturing the Freedmans. Watch it. Watch it. Watch it. My favorite documentary ever. But Times of Harvey Milk, where for some reason people are filming something that why are you filming this? So for some reason, from the very beginning, the district attorney is on camera, the coroner is on camera, and then all of the legal proceedings for Michael Peterson are on camera. Like, you don't get, well, here's what he said during this interview.
'Cause you're watching it.
You watch the interview.
Yeah, I love
you
that.
watch him get prepped for trial by an acting coach as to how to, like, and so he doesn't, like, we don't care about what you're going to say. We want your manner. So I want you to walk around the room, and he's humming the sound of the music. like he's humming the Lonely Goat Herd
Oh,
to get
I
comfortable
was wondering which song was
in the room,
like
and you're like,
High on the Hill.
yeah.
Oh,
So I mean,
yeah.
it's really fucked up. And then they have a fake jury, in a room being presented evidence because they want to know how it's going to play.
Again, this is the stairway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Staircase.
Staircase. I could not wrap my mind about how did they film all this? Who let them in the room with they have a potential jury made up of what they would hope to find, and some of it's worst case scenario. Like, here's 3 people we would never allow. Is it voir dire? Is that how you say it? That's they would never make it past that part of the jury selection, but we're gonna leave them on in case we get them, and we're gonna give them facts and let them sit around a room and talk about what do they believe about this guy, what do they not believe about this guy. So here's 12 people not involved with this case that are being told all the dirty secrets of this man and his life, so they can see how a jury. I mean, it's fucked up.
I got a couple episodes into that one, and I was like, what the
fuck
is happening?
It's nuts.
Crazy.
I mean, it's like Evil Genius, where like you think you're watching one thing, and then 911, there's a body in my neighbor's freezer, and you're like, what does this have to do with a bank robbery?
You know what I always learn from these things? I should have someone filming me.
Right.
Like, that
Just save
documentary is going to
time.
be fantastic at some point. I don't know what it's going to be about, but I
people
feel
who-
like some people should be
Because
filming
you don't have to sit there
Oh,
and
wait, they
wonder
are.
like yeah
They are.
we are recording it, but you don't have to sit there and wonder like, ooh, was he creepy after his wife was murdered? What did the
creepy.
body look like? Well, they didn't clean the blood off the walls of the house for months.
Long time.
So they're all living their lives in this house, 5 of them, with a bloody staircase.
And people go back and like study it and like measure it.
Yeah,
and
they-
go,
oh,
maybe
then-
the thing and maybe the trip and she hit her head
Because they
here and-
they won't clean it because it's still evidence. So they're
Evidence.
all living their lives eating breakfast with the bloody staircase.
Yeah,
Right. I mean,
nice.
it's fucked up.
I mean, to be honest, after about a week and a half, it doesn't smell anymore. It all just kind of dries up and it just sits there.
Were there no crime cleaners? The Sunshine Cleaning Company. What was that movie called?
Oh, yeah, I did that for a living one time.
Yeah.
You did.
I did.
So I don't want to read any further down this because I don't want to find out how this ends because it's another story that. How did I not know about this?
I feel like maybe we talked about it while you were gone because I feel like there's a
Yeah,
twist coming.
we
you have no idea that I
we
didn't
did.
either.
We were talking about
spoiled it. Yeah, don't
podcasts or
spoil
something,
for
and
him.
it came up because that was the one that people were doing before the big true crime explosion. People were watching this back in the day. I think Sundance was the first.
Well, no, this just came
one
out. This is just. They finally
to
just
it.
put it together and released it.
Oh, then what am I thinking of?
It's from. It just got released like
No.
2 months
We
ago,
drank.
Oh.
but it's from like 2004. Like,
That's what I'm talking about. No, it's been. So the staircase was on. I don't know what they've done to it now, but it was originally on
Netflix.
Sundance Channel.
Oh,
So
you know,
it
that would
was
make sense that-
before anybody, way before, you know what I'm talking about, before
Yeah.
the whole True Crime Now and podcasts and Serial and all of that. Because when all of that blew up, people brought this up and said, "Oh, remember."
Yeah, that
Before Making a Murderer, before Serial, they said, "Remember the staircase?" People were like, "Oh my God, that show was so great!" But it was like, you know, like when there was only one reality show on TV or something.
Right,
You know,
yeah.
think of not instead of 900. So
like I said,
maybe
I
they've
don't-
resurrected
I don't want
it
to
now.
read more information about it, or like I don't think it was ever like a 5 or 7 parts. It's a long.
Yeah, it's really long.
It's really long.
I believe
'Cause-
you should experience it organically.
Right, so that's why I don't read too much different. So then, the other thing about people who you see in a movie and you're like, keep your eye on them.
Kat.
They's gonna be a star.
Jenny, continue on now.
Were you really working cleaning crime scenes?
Oh, just a couple. It was
Just a couple. Now, did you commit either of those crime scenes? I feel a follow-up question is
I
important.
cannot.
Well, she cleaned it so
cannot
they couldn't
comment.
prove anything.
No comment. Yeah, short answer is I worked for a restoration company, and we occasionally got work from. I mean, we got most of our work from insurance companies, and occasionally there were like crime scene cleanups. Like, believe it or not, if someone like murders someone in your house, eventually your homeowner's insurance will pay for that cleanup.
Eventually.
Well, I mean, once the cops and everybody are all done with that, so never like bodies or anything, but like skull chips out of a ceiling and big pools of blood. and-
Suicide.
yeah,
Skull chips out of a ceiling. I
No.
thought they were called
Don't
crisps.
they call them crisps? In Britain, they are.
Yeah.
Skull
Yeah.
crisps.
She
Oh,
was doing this locally.
And Clayton, this is our from our lunch right here, and we
Yeah.
don't want any tickets.
Do,
No, I
do we
won't.
need a permit?
Do we
To
have
take, to
bourbon?
take it out to the
We
garbage.
have trash receptacles adjacent to the
Okay.
conference
Yeah, so
table.
some bio waste, a couple of crime scenes, a couple of suicides, and a couple of unfortunate people that just died in their houses in August that kind of decomposed before anybody got there.
Yeah, those.
Those are
Wow.
gross. Those you just start cutting everything out and boxing it
Wow.
up. Like there's no saving.
Yeah, there's no saving
I
from
had
that
Gilbert
smell.
grape that just sit on fire. Sorry,
Yeah.
it burned
Oh,
out.
Sorry.
I have gross stories, but this isn't.
No,
the
no,
time.
not the
maybe,
time.
maybe in two things.
Maybe
'cause I
when,
got nothing for
maybe
that.
when we're eating something later.
Yeah.
And now, someone that you knew was a star the minute you heard his voice saw a video.
That was for Jenny.
David Diggs
Ah,
has
Okay.
written, co-produced, and co-stars in a movie called Blind Spotting about
I have to go right now.
two
Is it
men.
out right now?
Yes, it is.
I'm leaving.
But there's limited showings because it's a very, very limited release
the
still. Two friends in Oakland who are dealing with one's white, one's black. One is just out of prison on parole, and his white friend who's very Oakland, and their relationship and the difference of like how the world sees them as a white person acting like this and a black person trying to like get over his shit of being in prison, and the trauma that they go through, and like gentrification and hipsters, and like San Francisco's too expensive, so Oakland is now being gentrified. So now you have these
Yeah.
people that have been living this way of life for so long that's now being like
They're being invaded.
is it cultural appropriation? Is that what Katy Perry's always in trouble for? Is that what it's called?
No.
Yes.
Gentrification, and they're not the same thing.
No, they're not. But so this movie also takes on cultural appropriation. Like,
Right. Gwen Stefani also very guilty of it.
Oh, very guilty.
Madonna also very guilty
Yeah.
of it.
see now I always think that with
Like
Get-
anytime you've done a geisha video,
Right.
cultural
You did it.
appropriation.
yeah, then you did it.
One
So
time
this
I
one
did
is
it, one
this
time.
one is about the culture, like the hipsters coming in and trying to fit into the rough neighborhood that's around them.
yeah.
And then you have David Diggs and his friend is white, but is he just doing his own culture because he grew up in a really rough part of Oakland? Is that just him, or is he
He would be not culturally appropriating, but there would be a debate about that.
right? But
probably.
wait till you see them converge as the hipsters
That's
come in, and all of a
fascinating.
sudden he's a white guy that everyone thinks is doing cultural appropriation when he's like, no, I'm
he's
not
like,
a hipster. This
"No,
is my
yo, I'm
fucking.
from here."
This is what I fucking look like. And
Right.
oh my god.
When I read the review in the Arizona Republic, and I don't even like that critic very much, but he said that was one of the best parts of the movie was the white guy from Oakland.
oh yeah.
Being like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah.
I live here and you're a bunch of fuck ups.
Right.
You
Right.
know?
Whose
Yeah.
whose wife, his best friend, and his child are all people of color.
Right.
Yeah, and it's
It
and-
sounds fascinating.
Oh, it really was. But and David Diggs at the end just blows you away. Like he is so he's so on point. He's so intense of an actor, and you can't take your eyes off of him anyways. But then
I love David Diggs.
yeah, just to go through this from the comedy of being in Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt and Blackish, and then being in Hamilton playing two parts, and like to this character who's just so like afraid of the world and doesn't know where to step, and has this friend that's just blowing up at everything. It's amazing. I cannot recommend it enough.
Nice.
And then the last thing I'll say is Tom Cruise and I seem to have the same taste.
Interesting.
Oh.
Because every time there's
Cults.
somebody in a small movie
Katie Holmes.
that I think, wow, you should kind of watch them, they appear in a Tom Cruise movie like a minute later.
It's freaking me out.
Yeah, like,
Are they also under the wing of Scientology at that point?
no,
I don't
no.
want anything to do with your cult.
But he
Right.
really does. I mean, and he surrounds himself with really great actors. And I am sorry, I know the Scientology is horrible. I give him
I can
all that.
separate the two.
But holy shit, that is a movie star. He just
Yeah,
makes
he is.
big screen. You can't watch this at home. Punching the person next to you out of just raw energy. And I was like, thank God this motherfucker was not in 3D. And then I found out it was in 3D in another theater. It's that Mission Impossible 6, this time it's personal, Book of Shadows, whatever the fuck it's called.
Electric Boogaloo.
Electric Boogaloo.
Electric Boogaloo.
Now they dance.
This time it's serious.
Absolutely terrific. And it was what James Bond Spectre failed at constantly.
Interesting.
Because he pulls together elements of all 6 movies, or however many there are,
17.
and gives you like a little bit of backstory. You need to know who this person's from, where that person's from, all with this like fantastic chase scenes and entertainment, and like the plot kind of made sense. Like I was kind of on board. They could have said the bomb needed 30 minutes to go off. The 15 minutes was a bit of a stretch. I kept saying to my friend, I'm like, they are getting a lot done in 15 minutes. Like, all you had to say was the detonator's
Very
30
busy.
minutes. You got 30 minutes to get away from a nuclear
Less
bomb in a
suspenseful.
helicopter.
Less
That
suspenseful.
seems fair, you know? 30 minutes to get away from the
30
blast
minutes
zone.
feels like a long time. 15 minutes creates a lot more.
But it took them
suspense.
30 minutes to tell it, so I really...
There is no time in movies.
But
There's no time.
absolutely terrific. The only thing was they did a little bit of casting of too big a star that you're like, well, of course that's the villain. That's too big of a star to not be the
Yeah, they're not going to
villain.
be the person just sitting by
Right.
you having dinner.
Like there's that movie with Michelle Pfeiffer and Harrison Ford, What Lies Beneath.
Oh yeah.
That, I mean, the first hour and 40 minutes, I'm like, there is no way Harrison Ford signed up to be the guy.
Yeah.
If he's not the bad guy in
Yeah.
this movie, what the fuck am I watching?
No.
And then when he turned out to be the villain, I'm like, it's just casting.
Yeah.
Like, he's not... Harrison Ford at 50 years old is not going to play the guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's not playing anybody's boyfriend.
There's no more people left in the story.
Right. What's his name? The guy from The Princess Bride shows up in one movie, and you're like, he is way too big a star to not be the bad guy. You know what I mean? There's
But
no
not a
way
big enough
he's the-
star for you to remember his name.
Yeah. Corey
I was
Elwes.
gonna say, not Mandy Patinkin.
Carrie Elwes.
Yeah, him.
Oh yeah.
It's been a minute since he was a big enough
Yeah.
star to worry about his casting.
long time.
Now
Right.
he can be billed eighth, and I'd be like, that's
Exactly.
exactly where you belong,
That's
sir.
Seems fair.
So Mission Impossible gets to a theater. I know you have to forget that there's people making his planes or whatever, but
Whatever.
god damn, that man knows how to make a movie.
He does.
He does.
Agreed.
Ed, 2 hours and 15 minutes of just solid entertainment. I was never bored. I was afraid I was going to miss this show because that 15 minutes took about an hour and a half. But so that's entertainment.
Luckily, you wouldn't have missed much.
I have one
Mrs. Garrett?
thing to add on. Oh, are you going to?
Oh,
we
no,
could
no,
have.
I don't
No,
wanna
we
do
could
it.
do
Oh
that.
no, I just
Are you
want
doing it?
to well,
Somebody
there's
should
not
do
really
it there.
much to do. I know it's probably been all over
The
the
people
place.
are asking. For
No,
it.
I inadvertently put the picture up earlier and I didn't know a lot about her early career. I learned just because of her passing. 92-year-old actress Charlotte Rae, mostly known for her character of Mrs. Garrett, which started in the Facts of Life series, and they immediately spun her off into the Facts of Life, where she changed jobs altogether and became a nutritionist in a girls' school. Passed away at 92 on Sunday. Here she is with the cast of
You
of
just
the
said
show.
that the Facts of Life spun off to be the Facts.
I'm
of
sorry.
Life.
Different strokes. She spun off to be the Facts of Life.
Okay.
Her own
I mean,
show.
just-
Anyway,
Look at that proud lesbian on the left.
but I found out that
Joe.
she had a career as a stand-up comedian early on in her life, which I never knew about. I guess would be akin to a Toady Fields, but not quite as blue as Toady.
Who's on the History of Comedy, by the way?
Oh,
and
she
you
is?
will love it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, very cool. But I always loved Mrs. Garrett, and one of the things that they keep talking about within her, with her, and it's very unique with her, that voice of hers that had the ring. There's a word.
Yes.
There's a word for it that I was trying to remember, but I'd forgotten. It's not a reverb. It's not a reverberation.
A
There's
vibrato?
no, there's another word that I'd never heard of in reference to her voice, because she always had that ringing to
Yeah,
her. Girls,
right, yeah.
girls.
Which is so memorable.
It's very
Right.
memorable, but it's
How does she spell her last name? R-E-Y or R-A-Y?
R-A-E. Charlotte Rae.
R-A-E.
R-A-E. Anyway, it's just another passing and a part of my childhood. I watched Different Strokes. I watched The Facts of Life. I love The Facts of Life.
I did too. So you want to know interesting trivia about that?
Of
about
course.
Facts of Life?
Sure.
She sang for the first season. She sang the song.
That's true.
Yep.
Oh, yes.
There's
yeah.
a time you gotta
Yeah.
go and show your
Right.
girl, and now you know about The Facts of Life. The Facts of Life. Yeah, no,
We're
you're right.
talking
She
about
I
did
know.
sing that.
Isn't that great?
Yes, in Broadway credits, she was in she was in quite a few shows. Not all of them
She was
hits.
Broadway stand up. She did a lot.
Good for her.
Oh, the original cast of Lil Abner
Well, look at that.
Oh,
and the Three Penny Opera.
that I heard him say something about that.
That's where you get Mac the Knife from. That's how you know the Three Penny Opera.
Oh, okay.
Let's see what awards and or nominations she was.
She was a two-time.
Let's-
She was a
two-time
two-time Tony nominee, right? Or
yeah,
winner.
for Morning, Noon, and Night for Best Actress, and for Pickwick as featured actress in a
She was
in
a
musical.
working actress.
Yeah, stage actress and TV. She did all different formats, but she was a working lady her whole life.
Yeah, starting in her first Broadway performance is 1952. So
Again, something I never knew
Yeah,
about her.
God
I
bless
never-
her.
Yep.
So she has passed on. I was surprised that out of all the
Super dead.
Todd Bridges tweeted about her, Mindy Cohn did, also Kim Fields, but nothing from Lisa Wilchell. I don't know why. I just thought
Yeah.
I never heard anything from Lisa Wilchell about that. But
Lisa, what are you doing?
from my understanding, there was never any bad blood between any of those cast members. It's just Lisa Wilchell went off the deep end and found Jesus and lives in Texas somewhere doing her own crazy. And she also homeschools her children, if I'm not mistaken.
She had
Yeah.
some kind of a
Mistake.
reality show briefly, or was on like I'm a celebrity.
And I'm
Don't
something
fuck
about
with me or
Jesus. No,
something.
I don't
yeah.
remember. Yeah, something.
She was on.
Something horrible.
Yeah. And I realize a lot of people don't realize that Nancy McKeon, who played Joe Polnicek on the series, her brother,
Was Alice. Doug
Alice's
McKeon.
son, right?
Right.
Philip McKeon
Philip.
played Alice on the TV
I
series.
thought his name was Doug.
Interesting.
No, Philip McKeon. I'm almost certain it's Philip McKeon.
Mm-hmm.
But played Tommy, Alice's son,
Yeah,
on the
I
TV
didn't know
series.
that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, so many things to learn.
So many.
Yes.
So I haven't. I don't know how interesting. It's interesting that when it made me think when I thought of working actress.
It's Philip
So,
McKeon.
do you remember Morgan Fairchild?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, yeah.
Okay.
Of whom I sing
So-
naked.
So,
No, that's John Lovitz always used to
Oh.
say when he was trying to be product. Oh, I know Morgan Fairchild. But she was from Flamingo Road.
Flamingo Road,
Right.
and then she did one more after that. They were the only like kind of noteworthy ones. Well, I saw her on daytime television the other day, and it's like her
Oh,
face
like
is
as now? She
yeah
was
now.
Oh, okay.
And it's like there's not a wrinkle on her face because her face can't move because it's like a piece of plastic, you know.
Right.
It's kind of horrible, actually. I mean, it's really awful.
Shocking.
But she seems to be like a really nice person, and I was always kind of weirdly obsessed with her. I just thought she was really interesting. So when I saw her, and I'm like, how the fuck old must she be? So I Googled it.
How
She's
old?
like 68.
Okay.
So then I thought, well, she was on, and I thought on TV, and so I went to IMDb because I thought, well, you know, she probably hasn't done anything in like 20 years, and you're wondering like, why did she pop back up or whatever? I went through, and I did because I'm this type of person. Went through every single since her first thing she did in like 77, she has an IMDb credit for every single year except one up to this year.
Yeah.
Well, because that was your she had her face done.
But the thing about like working actors that crack me up is, and they're all crap.
Oh no,
Every
right.
one of them.
She didn't give a
That's
shit.
her-
She got a
does
paycheck.
not care.
But she doesn't wait tables.
But
Right,
no,
right,
but
exactly.
but that is where I'm going with this. It was
Lifetime
so
movies.
not okay, not even that good.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like I don't know. I could. There's so many I couldn't click on every single one, but the ones that did look like Lifetime, I clicked. Nope. It's all just like she'll. So there'll be like the B movie. A lot of them are horror, like a B horror
Okay.
movie. And then as she got older, she's like the mom of the person in the horror movie,
Right.
you know. And then she'll do those one episode things, like she just has one episode credit
Oh,
on
she's
every
Friends.
show under. Yeah,
She would- yeah.
exactly. And Roseanne, she was
Yeah.
on Roseanne.
Whose mom was she on Friends? She's Chandler Bing's mom. That's married to
was she?
Kathleen Turner.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kathleen Turner is
Right.
the dad, and Morgan Fairchild is the mom.
Oh,
So
okay.
it just showed that you can do like one thing a year and make enough money.
Yeah,
you know,
to
and
live your life,
does
girl.
Have, she does have a few things where she had 12 or 13 episodes, and she bounced into soap operas even just recently. A couple years ago, she does like a character arc of like 6 episodes. So anyway, I just thought it was interesting that you can do something that basically no one really knows you, and you're famous for something you did in 1983, but you never had to
Yeah.
like have a real job.
You just
ever
keep showing
again.
up at those pride
Yes.
parades. Yep, you grand march every once in a while.
I thought that was so cool. And just the only other thing, because I haven't talked about this, but when you posted and people on your Facebook page and people were giving us a hard time for getting Netflix in the mail, the
Oh, yeah.
the DVD, the actual things, and of course you and I know why it's important.
Yeah.
But then you said, well, I really like the DVD extras, and so do
Oh, yeah,
I.
the tail to snout
But
cooking,
you
yeah.
tend to watch everything in the theater first, right?
Right,
And
right,
I
right.
tend to not. I'm so late to the party. So what I wanted to ask you is, have you seen the DVD extras for The Shape of Water?
I have not yet.
They are fantastic. So if you're going to shout out a movie, I am too. So that's it. First of all, that movie was amazing. It's so beautiful. I loved it, but you are going to flip out of your head, Al, when you watch the extras.
Oh, be
And
careful, Al.
Guillermo del Toro, is that his name?
Yeah.
Guillermo del Toro. His insight into there's so much more going on in that movie than I thought there was. Like, I mean, it's a fantasy, but and a fable and a story and really compelling. But there's so much going on with how that film is made that you will love it.
And his love of movies and his
yep.
love of Douglas Sirk.
And
you can just follow
talk about that.
Yeah, you follow that thread. And that's why, like, I love Chicago because
color palette, the whole color palette thing. He talks about all the greens and the red.
I
and,
love that shit.
Yeah, so do I. I was geeking out so hard that I wanted to like call you and be like, "You have to come over right now and watch
Yeah,
it."
that's coming up on my list.
You'll love it.
So, just so you don't think I'm insane, Doug McKeon is the little kid from On Golden Pond and is no relation.
Oh.
The loons.
Oh, there is a Doug.
There is a Doug McKeon.
The loons.
I knew that they weren't the same boy, and it was kind of like thinking that there was a Dashmel brother, but his name is not that at all.
Right.
Your mind died in shining off.
And I love you, Norman.
You old poop. You old poop.
Chip on your shoulder, Chelsea. It's not very
Do
becoming.
you
I
have
do like impressions.
do you have
I
two
wish we
things
were
or
doing
do you
Joan
not?
Crawford.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
needs to be
kind of,
happening.
Not really, but sure.
Well, let's see what
I
happens.
like. I just like this song.
Two things is what she brings. Two things is what she's talking about. Two things, important little things. That is what she's spouting out.
You just need two things.
That means two things.
Let's get two things clear.
And then two things about yourself.
And I've come to share with you one of two things. No, two of two things. We're sharing two things right now.
There are only two things I can't stand in this world.
Quick, grab two things you love.
It can be two things.
Only two things in the world I'm scared of.
Rise of frazzard, two things.
Remember two things.
I believe in two things.
Guys are only after two things.
What's better, doing two things at once or just one?
Never half-ass two things. Whole ass one thing.
We're gonna give the whole assing up to Cat Carlson.
Guys. Your president doesn't know how rivers work.
Oh my god. Oh my god. There
That's
aren't words for
shocking.
how much I love this cat.
California is on fire. The whole state.
Oh, it's huge.
It's
Which
very sad.
isn't
It's
funny.
huge, right? It's not funny, but I mean, still. California's on fire. Your president doesn't know how rivers work. He thinks it's the governor's fault that all of that water is just carelessly being dumped into the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
Just letting it go.
It's because of
Governor
the
Jerry
laws.
Brown must allow the free flow of the vast amounts of water coming from the north and foolishly being diverted into the Pacific Ocean. Why would
It is
the
a shame.
governor put the river in the ocean?
It's just bad planning.
It can be used
horrible.
for fires,
And selfish, really,
farming,
for nature to do that.
something else that starts with an F.
I remember when you get the farming that killed me. They could be using it for farming. They're doing okay with farming.
Not in Southern California, but still. Think of California with plenty of water. Think of it. All that wasted
Yeah.
river water going into the ocean.
Some of it even comes from Colorado.
Well, but that river goes to Mexico. He's not even going to talk about that.
Oh my God! They
He's
built a
so
wall to
upset.
stop the water.
Yeah.
So upset about it, he tweeted about
They
it.
can't
2
hear cat,
times.
Clayton.
Hmm?
Jenny can't hear cat.
Well, Cat, I don't know why she's talking so soft as she is. It's not me.
'Cause-
It's her.
Emphasis.
Because I'm internalizing
Right. She's processing.
the
it.
rage.
I'm gonna turn up her gain a little bit.
Much like my father did.
There you go.
When I get very upset, I
The
just
voice
get
goes
very
down.
quiet.
Yeah.
Yep.
See.
A quiet.
Yeah.
They call it a quiet loud.
When my father
Went quiet.
went quiet
mine
and would
too.
just say, "I'm very disappointed.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Run away!
Yeah.
Run away as fast as you can!"
It was the look.
Yeah. And
My
the,
mom did
and
the
the
same
not
thing.
talking.
It was the non talking and just the look.
Yeah. Just the no
And
talking.
you knew you were just
Yeah.
you were done.
You're dead.
Yeah.
That's really all I had.
Well, and apparently all of the in addition to that in the tweet, wasn't there all of the incredibly horrible environmental policies of,
Well, sure,
of
yeah.
California?
There's the follow up, subsequent tweet, if you will, says that California wildfires are being magnified and made so much worse by the giant magnifying glass in the sky and bad environmental laws, which aren't allowing massive amounts of readily available water to be properly utilized.
The laws
It's
that
being
did that out.
diverted into the Pacific Ocean, people. The waters.
They have the water to
into
put
the
out the
ocean.
second biggest fire in California, but they're not because the law
they're
says
not
they have to
gonna.
divert it to the ocean.
This
Because
is-
that makes sense. That makes so much sense. Thank you, fuckhead.
That's not how rivers work. Must also clear tree to stop fire from.
I know the
from
clear
spreading.
tree.
Clear. Did you see?
Guys.
Stephen Colbert this week?
No.
No, I haven't watched
Oh
this
my
week.
gosh, I DVR'd it. So he put that tweet up, Kat, and
Yeah.
he reads it, and because he's so fucking incoherent when he does anything, that he typed and there's a pause. There's a
Space.
I'm sorry, a space between the
Yeah.
after clear. And so Stephen Colbert was doing it last night on his monologue, and he said, and he like stopped, and he was like clear, and then he paused. It's like the longest pause. It's like 4-second pause, and then he reads the rest of it, and the audience just died. Like that's all he had to do to make the joke.
I like how rather than praising the first responders or sympathy
Right.
for anybody who's lost anything,
right.
we're just going to blame the government
Yeah.
of California
You're
for all
super
this.
right. He does things very differently. I agree.
I'm sorry
Feels
you
very
lost your
refreshing
house,
to
but
me.
the government's stealing your water.
Brian-
That's why you got the fire.
They're
Brian
not even
Williams.
stealing it. They're dumping it into the
Brian
ocean.
Williams got a good laugh out of him last
Now I'm
night too. He was
too
like
loud.
scholars, linguists,
Yeah,
everyone
everyone's-
studied this.
Yeah,
He
Scholars,
always, the zingers that
linguists,
Brian Williams
everyone.
does.
Oh, he's got
I
that's
enjoy
his
it.
own version of a late night show. Brian
No,
Williams,
yeah.
you're right. It's
He'll
one of the
slip
funniest
something
things
out
you'll
there
see.
and he'll
Yeah.
make a comment about
I
something.
know.
And
It's so good.
Dry
I
humor.
find
love.
him delightful.
Yeah, I do too.
I want him to marry me.
I love the 11th hour. That's really good.
I
I
totally.
think we'd make a handsome couple.
Sure. Slightly older gentleman.
Uh-huh.
You.
I've been under a rock for most of the summer, but my God, every time I peek my head out from under the rock, I go, "We're fucked,
it
guys."
just gets
I know you
worse.
regret-
No,
you
I know.
regret it just a little bit more than the
I
last
know.
time.
Gosh, it's awfully nice under
I
this
know.
rock, where I watch 10-year-old sitcoms.
Yeah, that's
just
what I do.
Episode after episode after episode.
I read or saw someone say that people are doing that now, that they're so stressed out and tense that they're actually like having drinks and watching. They said they had this coping the Trump disaster coping mechanisms, and one of them it had the recipe for it, and it said call your friends. It said, and when you're drinking, seek out shows that you know and love and preferably have seen before, because you know you're safe, because you already
You're in
know
a
how
safe
it all
place.
turns out. So you can watch Sex in the City for 9 hours and you'll feel okay.
No, I'm just seeking out
Yeah.
like 10-year-old sitcoms that I
Yeah.
haven't watched before, because now
Uh-huh.
I've got 10 seasons to just sit and watch episode
Yeah,
after episode
right.
after episode. We're currently on The Fosters right now.
Oh,
It's very cute.
very cute.
Fosters.
Rosie O'Donnell appears at some
Oh,
point.
does she?
Yeah.
A
She
couple of
comes in.
dykes adopt and foster a bunch
stoned.
of kids in San Diego.
My God.
It's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
it's
right,
lovely.
Jenny.
And oh
No,
yeah.
I'm not kidding.
Congratulations, Jenny, on
Yeah.
being stoned.
And now she doesn't have to say it's medically if she doesn't want to, because it's all.
Oh, that's right, in Cali.
It's all
You can do
legal
it anytime
there.
you want.
Oh, I'm surprised that's he could have blamed that on it too. The recreational maybe was though it was started. Well, the one I keep hearing about was started by a car catching fire on the side of a road.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised you didn't throw that in there. That it's the rivers, the government, and then everybody's stoned, and then just light fires randomly. I just figured that should be thrown in there too, for crying out loud.
Sure.
It's
Al, I did
all-
think of you. I saw a GIF the other day that was
Pot.
a dumpster, a trash dumpster on fire.
Oh, there.
But
Yeah.
not a picture, like the light. You could see it burning.
Yeah.
And I thought, if I knew how to send that to you, I would.
Exactly. The
And yet you just
dumpster
waited
fire.
till Tuesday and told him about it.
You
and
have
that
to
was
Google
lovely
it
too.
yourself. You have to use your imagination.
He's
as
just
a
happy
cat.
you thought of him. That's really all we needed here.
Well, but what I thought of him was I thought of a dumpster fire.
And next week we're gonna talk about these fucking pies that Nero found.
with the
no.
faces.
They're creepy. As
Oh,
shit.
no.
They're
Oh,
weird.
Oh,
I saw them.
those.
I saw
I'm
them.
going to say no.
Those
And I like. Oh, it
pies.
says unlaid. I thought it said unlaid. I'm like, and it's probably because you're eating these pies, but it doesn't say unlaid.
That's not good.
Online.
So that
That's
was my
it.
big that was my
That's-
big current events of the. Of
Oh,
the
you went
week.
out with a bang.
I
in the-
thought so. Yeah.
that-
Stop
and that-
wasting the water.
And that bang
in
was
the
on
rivers.
fire.
Fire.
This state is on
No,
fire.
I like. I've heard so many different things. I've heard that the one part of it is now the largest wildfire in California
Ever.
It
history.
is. It is.
The-
Yesterday
the
it
car
was
fi-
second, so
the-
did it cross over?
I
Does
do-
it win now?
Wasn't
with
it the car
prize?
fire and then it's some
Well, somebody
some
actually,
kind of
there
fire
was
complex?
another one that was actually compared to the size of another state. Like it is the size of I don't know what fucking state it was, but it was
Wow.
the size of a state.
Um,
But yeah,
the
huge,
news.
huge mess.
Yeah.
And it we're joking about what the president said about it.
Yeah,
He's
we're
a fucking
not
idiot.
joking about the fire.
It
4
is
hours ago, now the largest in state
Oh,
history.
gosh.
People are on edge, and it's devastating.
It
Like,
is.
It
It's
really is.
To see the footage.
I know.
I mean, just and it rolling
crazy.
through.
Yeah.
It creates its entire own ecosystem.
It does.
The
Oh,
fire
the satellites,
nados.
the satellite photography of it.
Oh,
the
yeah.
smoke going over.
Yeah.
Somehow missing us, unless our air quality's bad, and I just don't know
That-
it.
Well,
No,
it's north. It's further north.
But they're saying it.
Well, but
hit
they're
New Mexico.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh,
That
the
it-
jet stream is just looping over
Yeah,
us.
somehow
Yeah.
missing us. But
Crazy.
it's the Mendocino complex fire, likely to burn to the end of the month.
God damn.
California fire explodes in size, is now the largest in state history. Like, just terrifying.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it is.
Poor
It's
people.
It's insane to see the footage and the pictures of it, and the fire nados that go, and it just creates its entire
just the-
environment all
I
out
know.
of itself.
And just the loss of property, loss of life.
Everything.
Always makes me sad, but like the pictures of the animals, they showed the bears, or, they're all like running away
Sure.
and distressed, and it's just horrible. Horses.
Yeah,
and-
there is nothing good about that.
no.
Not a
But
thing.
you went straight to sad bears.
I know. Sad bears. And they were panting because they were hot.
Yeah.
Sure.
from the fire.
Well, and they can't get any water because it's all going to
Right.
the ocean.
Well,
Right.
and
Well,
that's the
Being
thing. You know,
wastefully dumped,
you know
wastefully
what?
diverted
I have to say
to the Pacific
about the
Ocean.
water going there. Thanks, Obama.
Thanks, Obama. I know. Those lakes, those rivers flowed in a different
That's
direction.
right.
God damn it.
Oh,
I hate to say it, but somebody's just got to take him outside and beat the shit out
Yeah,
of
just
him.
beat the holy shit out of him.
It's just
we're all
time.
hopeful.
Yeah.
We're all hopeful.
It's not okay.
It's
Come
not.
on, Mueller.
It's not. I haven't said
Now
that in a
it's-
while. It's not okay.
No, it's not.
We need to. I need to
got
bring that
really
back.
loud.
I
It's
know.
not
It's
okay.
not okay.
It is not. Well, thanks everybody in the chat room for joining us. Jenny, Joe, Nero, Mama Di,
Jenny, thanks
Meow
for
Cow
being
was in
here.
there for a while. Everybody.
Shifts at
We're gonna
sea.
try again next week to see if we can get the entire original cast of this show together.
But I'll be here
Jinxed
for
us.
whoever
But
calls
be,
in.
be ready, Doug. Be ready.
But again, Buddy's not showing up, so it still won't
No.
be the original
Well,
cast.
not the original cast, but our regular cast.
Your regular cast.
Buddy, early, you should just show
this
up.
season.
As we wrap up tonight's show, let's leave you with this parting thought. We will see you next Tuesday.